extra bases, and it will be. Into third base, they're going to wave home Arias. Here's the relay throw to the plate. He is saved. Jones plugs one toward left center field. It's well hit. It's in the alley. It'll go to the wall. Schneemann scores. Ramirez scores. Manzardo stops at third. It's a two-run double for Nolan Jones, and the rout is over. And there's the first hit of the game for Kansas City off the bat of Michael Massey. Ciccone took a no-hitter into the eighth. Second time this year, a Guardians pitcher has legitimately flirted with a no-hitter. And the 2-2, book it. The Guardians hammer the Royals in the series opener by a final score of 10-2. They leapfrog Kansas City in the wild card standings with an impressive series opening win here tonight.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Tone, good morning. Audio courtesy of Guardians TV. Good morning.
Isn't it fun to legitimately flirt with a no-hitter?
Yes.
That's nice, especially when you're pulverizing the opponent. The poor...
yeah, at least it's not like 1-0. It's like, okay, you lost a no-hitter, and then a reliever comes in and you lose the game.
Yeah.
That's that's
the worst.
No.
And then
that ain't good.
That poor Canton Glen Oak pitcher for Kansas City, they just toyed with him.
I got to tell you real quick before I felt bad about that, but there's a Northwoods League. Usually I'm in the Backwoods League. Hey-o. There's a Northwoods League or something Tom Hamilton was talking about. And
play the Deliverance thing.
Apparently they play too many games. Like I learned something because he knows about the system, like the Cape Cod League, all the wooden bat leagues, all the things like that. And he's like, if you're a parent of a pitcher, no, they play way too many games and they all come out with Tommy John surgery. I was like, because that's what happened to that Glen Oak kid. He ended up in this college league, and it ended up, they go through these summer leagues, and it kind of throws off your career.
But hey, he got to the big leagues.
He still got to the bigs, but you still wonder. It's like, all right, what could he have done? And it's like, I know a lot of guys get Tommy John and things like that, but it's still a right turn you maybe didn't want to take. So I was a little bit blown away by that because I was listening. I started listening because I was late to football practice yesterday. I did the 6.
Well, it's a weird 6:40 start time.
Yeah. So I was late to football yesterday.
What's up with that?
And I got back in the truck and I was listening to it.
Ooh, what's up with that? They've been doing
6:40 times all year.
I know. It's just
I think it's great.
The 6:40 thing. It's such an in-betweener.
As someone who wakes up at around 3:10, it's a wonderful thing.
We like them at 4:30.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and do it at 4:30, you go right on ahead and do so. And then I got back in. It was about 6th inning. Yeah, because they were up 9-0. And Tom Hamilton just comes out and says that there's a no-hit bid, which people get mad. It's the annoying thing about a no-hit bid is that if you say anything, people race to blame you for ruining the no-hitter.
And we've never had a no-hitter.
And we haven't had a no-hitter.
It's all the media's fault.
And I go, well, just blame each other. No, people blame each other. And then there were people tweeting me going, I'm sorry. I had one guy he's been a listener since day one. And he's like, yeah, blame it on me. I was texting my friends, blame it on me. I'm like,
jinxed it.
I didn't know that. I don't think that Bill and Brook Park, I don't think that the baseball gods are up there going, well, too bad, buddy, ain't happening today. I don't think that was going to happen. Now, Slade Ciccone needed a good outing regardless. He got a great outing. So that was because he got bombed against the Red Sox. But that was fantastic. But the no-hit bid, I don't want to jinx it. It's always a conversation to jinx. And then when he did lose the no-hit bid in the 8th, I'm like, man, it's been a long time since they've had a no-hitter. It's been 81 is a long period of time to not have a no-hitter.
We've got the longest drought, right? I thought we had the longest drought.
We have the longest current drought. I think we're second in history.
In all-time droughts.
Yeah. I want to say we're still second. Might be first by the end of the year. I know it was starting to get close.
It's got to happen. Come on.
Okay, I just want to make sure. But I was a little bit surprised where I was trying to pay attention to it. I mean, they're 2.5 games out of the wild card. And I hate this time of year when it's like, the Guardians are in the race. They demand and deserve your respect. Like, guys, okay, we're watching it. But
well, yeah, I saw people posting, the stadium before, and it's like, look, it's things change. Things change. They had for them, I think they had a pretty good year of attendance. But we just know come this time of the year, once school starts back up and people get back into their routines, like you had that opportunity. They're probably not going to play in front of big crowds until.
Well, I want a full boat for all three of the big teams. I mean, obviously the Monsters have no problem with it. I want a full boat for all three of the big teams. And hey, you can't sit there and say, I hate to say this, but judging by on Sunday, you can't sit there and say, well, you guys spend your money and go to Browns games. I don't know if that's the case. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you that. So I was a little bit surprised about some of the orange that I saw there. And I know that some people were upset because they saw so much blue in the seats. But it was school night, did it, fall, did it, all that stuff. But there is a natural gravitation. Week one, Lyme and I, even though Lyme and I don't gamble, we know a lot of gamblers. No, a lot of people love to put money down, and you didn't get a single text.
I got one.
Oh, you got one. Was it from me?
Well, no. One group thread happened to mention
that he's going for a no-hitter.
In the seventh inning, like and normally it's it's almost like a running gag, like third inning. Is he going to mention it? But yesterday,
so it's just seeing whether or not they'll mention it.
Well, no, just in general, just like, hey, might want to tune it on, might want to tune it in, put it on, and see what's going on.
Okay.
And yesterday got one. So, part of it is it's just this time of year. Once football starts back up, people get divided. I told you, like, especially stupid football stuff, just stupid gambling stuff, like that gets more activity in my phone than anything.
Well, yeah, and football is the number one thing that people gamble on. So if you and I got buddies who do a lot of gambling, then they're probably going to be watching the football. I think they don't realize probably that there's a no-hitter going on. Somebody has to alert them to a no-hitter, so probably you get on Twitter and you see that Slade Ciccone had a no-hitter going on. So it's like, all right, maybe you tune in to see what that was. But I felt kind of locked in. I don't want it to ever come off like a chore. Mm-hmm. But, we do this all the time between the two teams. Like I just got done saying, like, I don't want to hear anybody saying that you spend your money going to Browns game. There are several times in December over the last umpteen years where it's like, what are you doing Sunday? I got to watch the Browns game. It's still my job. I'm obligated to watch the Browns. I don't want the Guardians to be an obligation. I don't want to guilt anybody into watching the Guardians like, hey, they're only 2.5 games back. The football season has just started. Like, I don't want to. It shouldn't be something that you're obligated to do. It shouldn't be a chore.
Well, it's just. But
so if your buddies didn't watch it, I'm not going to shame your buddies.
Yeah, but this time of year, it's just busier. Every night there's something going on. Obviously, besides football, it's like my kids might have soccer, your kids might have whatever, and it's. Every night you're competing. The Guardians at this stage of the game are competing. And when they don't have a great year, and this has not been a great year, you've given people a reason to not make it appointment viewing. The question is, can they make it appointment viewing here down the stretch? Is them competing for a wild card spot but being around 500? We joke about the run differential, but on paper, this has not been a very good team. They've been very average all year.
You're 2.5 back.
Is that going to be enough to get people dialed in?
Well, I wanted to proclaim, like, I really think you got 19 games left, right? 19's the number.
Correct.
I got to make sure.
I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm confirming.
Okay, I want to make sure because I'm not good at math. Yeah, 3 more against Kansas City. 2 more games
and we'll be to your 17 games left
there
proclamation that you made last week.
We're going to get there eventually.
I'm looking forward to Thursday morning. I'll tell you that right now. You got 3 more against Kansas City, then Chicago, then Detroit, then Minnesota for 4. I mean, it's all division until you finish up with Texas of all teams.
But that's who you need to finish up with.
That's who you need to finish up against. That's true.
That's the other team in the wild card chase with you.
So you have
Seattle and Kansas City.
So you have 19 games left to go. You're 2.5 games out. But Mitch said this morning, because Seattle has a tiebreaker, so technically you're 3.5 games. He said. So if you're 3.5 games out with 19 to go, I mean, it's a tight squeeze. I think, though, I mean, I really would anybody be surprised if they got there? Would anybody be surprised? I don't think anybody would.
It would be a surprise.
You might act like you're disappointed.
The way we've talked about this team this year, that's the part that would be a surprise. But the fact that they're 3.5, by the letter of the law, 3.5 out. I mean, yeah, they could make that up, especially if they got Ciccone. I mean, this a guy who's been getting roughed up in so many of his outings.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you wouldn't be surprised. Like Minnesota sucks. The White Sox suck. So you got 2 of those series coming up. Detroit's obviously a pretty good baseball team. And I would imagine, I mean, you're trying to win every game. They're 20 games over 500, but I would imagine that the Detroit Tigers do not want to see the Guardians whatsoever in the postseason, considering last year. But I think that you definitely have a chance. I'm willing to say that of all the teams that have a chance, like the Yankees, I think they're pretty solidly in at 4.5 up. The Red Sox, I don't know about the Red Sox. I don't know about Seattle. It's exactly what Owen said. You got Texas in front of you at the end.
ESPN gives you playoff probabilities on the side of their standings.
What do we got?
Right now.
Ooh.
So this time last week, they were at 2.3%. They're up to 8.7%. It's still the lowest out of the teams that are in, but it's climbing, right? Detroit's 99.8, right? They've got this 8.5 game lead. You play 6 with them still.
Seattle is 83.1%. I just found this. Thank you, Owen. And Texas is 16.9%. You're at 8%. Hey, every you win, it's going to go up.
But like I said, last week at this time they were 2.3. That's a
6% jump.
It's a lot of jump for a week. You have to continue. They're at the point now where the most they can lose right now in a row is 2 games. They can't lose 3 in a row.
If they were going,
especially if the other teams are winning, they'll be screwed.
If this was a GDP, we'd be going ape right now. Tell you that right now. So you willing to say they're going to make the postseason?
I don't know how anybody.
The show's based on proclamations.
Yeah,
we need to make
I don't know how anybody
statements.
could be, that confident about it. But the window's open, absolutely. But there's nothing.
They've ran out of the room of control your own destiny.
You're right.
They need help.
Fair.
And they got to be good.
And they have to do their part too, but they need help. Even if they do. Even if they do their part at this point, and Seattle doesn't help them, and Texas doesn't help them.
But if they, I go back to my question.
We're in trouble.
Did they lose the ability to have people in this city call themselves appointment viewing from here on out? Knowing what we said, they're competing against football. I mean, this weekend, I told you I was driving to Buffalo for my game, and then the Browns played at the same time on Sunday. They were gone. They were off my. I mean, I was paying attention to them.
Week
obviously,
1. I don't know how anybody, unless you just don't like football, I don't know how anybody can try to.
Did you guys know that the game started like 40 minutes before the Browns kicked off? I didn't even know that.
Right,
I'm
so they were off the radar. How do they get back onto the radar? Right. What do they have to do? Or is it
what they did last night? I mean, you don't need to go for a no-hit bid every night, but as long as you keep winning, it's like,
I keep bringing up Detroit in 6 games, right? Here's what you have to do is you have to climb back into where...
And quickly.
By the time you go to Detroit next Tuesday, right? By the time you go to Detroit... You've got 6 with them in the next week and a half coming up. So in the next 2 weeks, right? You've got to be 6 or 7 games back of them and play 6 with them and win those games. And then you get people to start, okay, now there's multiple pathways.
All right, let me set the rules right now here. Tuesday, Wednesday, you have no excuse. No, there's no NFL on. I'm talking to the casuals here, all right? Yeah. Guys who are just getting out there like, hey, I'm a football fan. Telling me about, Kenny, I know you were mad about Andre Schmidt. Tell me. I'm going to tell you guys it's 6:23, okay? But I'm talking to the casuals here. Regular old sports fans. Guys just want to be entertained. Tuesday, Wednesday, you got no excuse. Thursday, what are we doing with Thursday Night Football? Who's playing on Thursday Night Football? Usually it's a dog.
Packers,
things have changed.
I think it's an NFC North.
If it's the Packers, you got the Packers next Sunday, after this coming Sunday. So, do we count Thursday as a no excuse?
Who are the Packers playing?
Wait a minute, Gardos. They do play it. They play at 7:15 on Thursday on Fox. No excuse. No excuse. Kansas City.
It's the Packers and the Commanders.
Packers and the Commanders. Okay, Packers and Commandos.
That's a good game.
That's a good
probably
game.
Go,
It's a really good game.
The casuals are probably going to watch the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay
Call it what it is.
Or 3.5.
But the Guardians
Friday.
get a start. They get a start on them.
Real quick, Friday, White Sox 7-10, but you also have high school football.
Yeah. That's brutal. That's this time of year, it really is.
I'm sorry, guys, but I think Avon Lake probably takes precedent. I think the Shoreman and Midview probably take precedent there. So there's that.
I'll be in Hudson.
So here's another one. Here we go. Saturday, 6:10, Chicago. Why is that important? Because you actually have a night game against the Bobcats coming up on Saturday night.
The feisty, the scrappy Ohio University Bobcats.
They are. If you're an actual Big Ten fan or a fan of a big time college football pro, I love them. But if you're a fan of a big time college football, you do not want to see them. They're the most annoying team you could possibly see. Because they will embarrass you, and they already put
Brutus
Rich Rodriguez
the
on the hot
Buckeye
seat.
versus Rufus the Bobcat.
We know what happened years ago.
They've gotten into it, and revenge is going to be on the mind of Brutus.
So by the time
after that heinous attack,
both games start around 7. So if you got both games starting around 7, there's only so many Buckeyes games. But the Buckeye game, if the Buckeyes do what the Buckeyes should do,
make it easy.
It should be one half. You should be able to see the back half of the Guardians game. Yeah. But it is Ohio. Ohio's a tough out. Yeah. And then Sunday's Browns. So you got 2 right now because of the quality opponent.
So it's really up to the Guardians. I mean, they've got to make their run now. Obviously, they have to anyway, because if they don't, they're done. So
now, if you have picture-in-picture from Extend Technologies or picture-in-picture where you can watch 12 things at once, well, then you're
2
you're
TVs,
fine.
3 TVs, 4. Optimize your viewing experience.
Already you have stand in right field at the bar and see the game.
Yes.
And then also look at the TV and see the other game.
That's a good way to do it.
I will tell you guys, like I love college football. I watch, but sometimes I go, man, like some of you guys watching Ohio State, it's like, why are you? I gotta see. Like, no, you don't. You don't need to see them in the third quarter against some of these teams. Like, why you need to rush? We need to change around our plans because you need to rush home to see them take on UCLA.
Kenny,
guys, I know what's going to happen against UCLA.
Younger me, when I was into recruiting and paying attention to the guys that were picked up in the draft in the recruiting class. Now, you're right. There's no reason.
I'm going to say 2.5 days this week. 2.5 days. They are appointment viewing. You have no excuse. 2.5. I'm going to give you half of the Buckeye game, and that if you're up 28-0. Or 28-7 even at halftime, I think you got to flip it over to the Guardians game. There you go. Them's the rules. I set the rules. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm not your dictator, but you get what I'm saying. Coming up next. All right, fine. Sunday was your mulligan. Now it's on you. Ken Carmen, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan.
yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
You can listen to The Fan anytime, anywhere on the free Odyssey app and by telling your smart speaker to play 92.3 The Fan. Now you can find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all the best content from your favorite shows on The Fan each and every weekday.
We're on YouTube live. Live right now. Get on 92.3 The Fan's YouTube. We are live right now. Where Neil says, why is the show identified as the Ken Carman Show when Anthony Lima is superior? I will be reporting you to YouTube and blocking you. Thank you very much.
Which is funny because I had my personal friends in the YouTube yesterday.
Yes.
Ripping me.
Well, no one hates you more than your personal
Calling
friends.
you a childhood name.
That's true.
Yeah, Rat Boy.
Rat Boy.
Now, was it B-O-I when they called you Rat Boy? Or
I
was
don't
it
know,
B-O-Y?
but now it is. Now it's become that.
John Greco going to join us coming up at 8:02. So yesterday we started off the show with a bang. I was upset. Lima, you win. Apparently the Browns agree with you.
What do you mean?
You win the argument. They're keeping Andre Schmidt.
Wait.
You win. Congratulations on all your success.
Hold on.
Do the champions
Where
pose.
was I ever advocating like they
pose.
gotta keep the kicker?
No.
I think I was more indifferent.
You weren't championing Andre Schmidt, but what you were doing was trying to poke every hole you could and blow my argument open, where there are a lot of people who agreed with me, but the people who agreed with you were vehemently against me, going, that's stupid. You can't just cut a guy. And I go, yes, you can. It's a kicker.
Well,
you didn't draft him. You didn't sign him to a long deal.
Can.
You can just cut him if you want to. And then by the end of the show, I did eventually kind of calm down because I wanted to be as responsible as I could. Like, it's a lonely business. And when the Cade York article came out, it's like, dude, you can't just sit there and just rip on these guys and make it personal and nasty. You have no idea what they're going through. I'm sure he was trying to make the kick, for crying out loud. So it's like, hey, I think you should bring in competition. I think you should bring in other guys and have a tryout. And if one of those guys are better in your practice, then go ahead and go with one of those guys who are better. I heard Josh Cribbs yesterday on Afternoon Drive. He was great, saying that the guys in the front office would come down and stand next to the kickers with the whole team to put pressure on these guys. So here's Josh Cribbs yesterday on Afternoon Drive about the pressure. I think he might agree with you, Tone. Send him on over to the stadium and have the fans go in there and start to make noise.
They can make kicks all day in practice. They can make it, when the lights aren't on, they make it all day. That's the decision that Andrew Bray has to make. I seen it when I was there coaching with the team. I seen them do something that I think they need to continue to do. Is they brought the entire staff, the scouting department, they brought the coaches, and they all circled around the kicker towards the end of practice. I mean, literally, you have scouts and the general manager, they're all on the field, and they're putting the pressure on these kickers to where, hey, you miss this, it's going to be bad. And it's after practice, and they simulate that pressure because nowhere else do the pressure get simulated for a kicker until you have to win a game. So, again, the answer is not going to be bringing in a kicker who's capable. Everybody is capable. It's just a mental aspect.
And that goes right along with what you were saying, where why do they hide the kickers in the preseason from us? They hid Dustin Hopkins from us. But, this goes to a bigger point. If he goes out there and he misses on Sunday, I'm going to yell at you. Okay, because you weren't advocating saying we need to have Andre Schmidt. You have your opportunity. I was willing to give the organization a mulligan in so many ways because it's like I thought, and there's really no mulligan, and it's a bad word for it, but I thought they wanted Dustin Hopkins to go out there and make sure he had the job. He didn't. I think that Andre Schmidt won the job by default. He made his kicks, but Dustin Hopkins was the one that they were paying. They wanted Dustin Hopkins to win the job. Dustin Hopkins didn't go out and win his own job. The job fell to Andre Schmidt. And things were fine in the first half, and they went to sweet hell in the second half. But then Kevin Stefanski spoke yesterday, and Kevin Stefanski said, and Andre Schmidt, we trust.
I'm still focused on yesterday. Obviously, Andre knows we trust him, knows that he's got to come through for us in those moments. I thought he had a really good warm-up, banged a couple early in the game, and, missed those two at the end. And those are kicks that we expect him to make. But I'm really just focused on that game, and we expect him to come through for us.
All righty. So you know what? You've made your bed. Now you lie in it. So now I can really blame it on Andrew and Kevin. Like, if he goes out there and he sucks on Sunday against Baltimore, then I can really blame it on Andrew and Kevin and go, this was another thing you could have done and you decided not to do.
Well, you know what people are going to say? They're going to say the season's over. You're 0-2. The Browns aren't coming back from 0-2 to make the playoffs.
To say the season's over already, sad to say. We'll talk about that coming up at 6:43. Go ahead.
I think that's a little silly. But
it is a bit silly.
Actually, a lot silly. But anyway, when you're 0-2, and if your kicker costs you the first 2 games, I mean, look, you could say, well, if we just fix the kicker. But most people are going to say they're not coming back. The Cleveland Browns that we know, especially the Browns team that eventually is going to hand the ball over to rookies this season at some point, like you've squandered your games where you've played well, and now the season's over. So fans will be absolutely irate. I did want to ask you about like the accountability thing, because the kicker is the one position where guys do get just cut. They have a bad game, they get cut. Now, normally there's more of a track record. Normally it's like, this guy has been struggling. Like the San Francisco kicker, Jake Moody, was awful last year, and he was awful in week 1. And the only thing outside of the injuries and everything that they sustained already, because Brock Purdy might not play in week 2 and Kittle's out for weeks. Surprise with Shanahan's team. They're just always injured. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you they're talking about the kicker like crazy, even more so than here, because they've seen him be awful for a year. And now he's been bad again. And yes, drafted in the 3rd round.
Top 100 pick.
Holy cow. So when it's that position, we do feel like they're more expendable. My question to you would be on the accountability front. Is it normal when you are walking around? Again, we don't treat kickers as real humans or players. We just don't. Like the coach, Stefanski's like, I didn't talk to him. I didn't go over to him. Like there was one guy it seemed to console him in week 1, and it was Shedeur Sanders. He was the one guy on camera talking to him and trying to look like he was like, oh, come on, man, you've got this. Like pump him up. His life isn't over, right? Even though he's, how old is he? 29?
Yeah, 26.
Would the guys react to that? If today he would have already been cut, would that have made Myles Garrett feel better? Would that have made Joe Flacco feel better? I mean, Flacco, how many starts does he have left in his career?
I don't think they would have felt better. I don't think they would have been like, yeah, get rid of him. I don't think that would have been the case. I think they would have gone, that's unfortunate. That's the unfortunate nature of the business of being a kicker.
And they know it. They know that
it's a blessing and a curse where you can be a hero and you can also be a heel. And you might only get the chance to be a heel. So he's going to get another chance. But now it's not where like, I don't put it on Andre Schmidt now, or just Andre Schmidt if he misses kicks and we find ourselves in the same situation against Baltimore where it's like, hey, you had a chance to beat Lamar Jackson, another great quarterback, and you had a chance to beat Baltimore on their 30th anniversary celebration of the day they stole our football team and brought it over there. Well, they didn't really steal it. Art Modell handed it to him. But either way, on that celebration, Joe Flacco, like say they get close and Andre Schmidt misses it again, it ain't an Andre Schmidt argument anymore. It's a Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski argument.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. That's why it's like, I feel better. I have more to either use for or against. So I hope, let me be sincere about this. I hope that he becomes Morton Anderson. I hope he becomes Adam Vinatieri. It's much easier for me to be wrong. And I've been wrong plenty of times, and I will be wrong plenty of times in the future, because none of what I say really matters in the grand scheme of things. It's for entertainment purposes only. What they say really matters. What they think really matters. And if I end up being right and they end up being wrong, there's going to be a major problem, because then you're losing more games, and it's over a kicker, for crying out loud. Because that would be then probably 2 more games, because you're going to have to play well against Baltimore, and you're going to have to play well against Green Bay, and you're going to have to play well against Detroit. I'm not sure about Miami coming up here later on in the season, but against the first part of your schedule, you're probably going to have to play pretty well. And again, what was the difference yesterday that we were talking about? I mentioned this at 6:40 in the morning yesterday, and I'll mention it again. How would we be feeling had the kick went through? Carson Schlesinger, okay? Dylan Sampson out of the backfield catching passes. Not much on the ground, but out of the backfield catching passes. Mason Graham after the first drive really came together and looked good. You had young guys play well for you. We would have got past the said Tillman drop bobble interception. We would have got past Harold Finn. Harold Finn Jr. was great, by the way. They had him isolated, for crying out loud. How much better would we have felt about them? And then even the people who really dislike Andrew Berry and wanted him fired last winter and want him fired every waking moment of the day. you would have had to admit, boy, those rookies really played well, and you went out there and you got to win. Nope. Instead, we're going to do this whole thing over again, and we're going to put trust in this guy, and if he misses them again, fine, but this is on your head. And whatever argument comes back will come back in folds against you from the fan base. You're already not well liked. Your approval rating is way below 50% with the fan base. Okay, you've made this bed. You will now lay in it. And I really hope for your sake that he ends up being Morton Anderson. Because I've been wrong. It don't matter with me. Fans have been wrong. It don't matter with them. You can't afford it. You can't afford to be wrong.
Well, and
coming off the 3-14, going into year 6, you can't afford to be wrong. So you better hope he's got it.
Being in kicker hell sucks because it's the one thing that can undo, even if you magically have the quarterback situation fixed, it's the one thing that can totally doom a season is just being in the kicker hell, and they are square right in the middle of it.
Is this a mistake or is this something you like? Because now you can really put it squarely on Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. 216-474-0092. And the real reason you were so angry about Sunday, just look at what's ahead of you. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. John Greco, 8 o'clock. Watch us on YouTube Live right now.
Anthony Lima for Floor.
and True Rewards mobile app.
True North convenience stores and Red Bull are an elite matchup. Get returning players Red Bull Original and sugar-free, first round pick watermelon, and the newest rookie Red Bull Zero. Score 3 8-ounce cans for $6.50 and save 10 cents off a gallon with the True Rewards app. Available in your favorite app store.
We're going to end up having to play schedule game here in a few moments. Also, this isn't the exact reason why I don't do this at a baseball game, but it's definitely a reason why I just realized I would never do this at a baseball game. That at 7:22 this morning. Let me get to Malone in Lakewood real quick. Hello, Malone.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi, Malone. Go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to give you a quick thought here, and let me land the plane for a second. So we drafted Dylan Gabriel to be a 3-year backup quarterback for Kevin Stefanski. That was the plan for Gabriel. Shedeur Sanders was a dart throw. Fast forward to this Sunday. I would prefer every single week ends in a Browns field goal loss. After the rookies play incredible, after the offense looks competent, and then we lose by a field goal. Because, guys, the plan is next year. If you wanted Stefanski gone, you had last year to do it. You didn't fire him. You got to let him get through this season regardless. Schmidt, doesn't matter. This guy, keep him out there. If we lose playing that well by a field goal every week, we will be blessed by the football gods, okay? That is how we rebuild this thing, is playing so well and getting screwed by a doink every single week.
How do I
don't care about old man lineman, insert name here. I don't care. Too bad. It's a business. You didn't get it done while you were here. First of all, there's no Hall of Fame lineman like Joe Thomas. If it was Joe Thomas, I'd have a better argument against doing that. But we played fantastic.
Well, no, Joe would have been a Hall of Famer on no matter what team he played on. The issue is a guy like Joe Bitonio.
We're not protecting a Hall of Famer like Joe Thomas.
But that's the difference.
Going out there and winning. You know what I mean?
That's where I absolutely disagree with you. Joe Bitonio could have been a Hall of Famer had he made the playoffs more than twice. Had he won more than one playoff game. If Joe Bitonio played for the Kansas City Chiefs, Joe Bitonio will wear a gold jacket.
Playoffs are not a Hall of Fame stat. Nobody cares how many times you've been to the playoffs.
Look at his stats. Look at the All-Pro. Look at the Pro Bowls. I'm telling you right now, Malone, Joe Bitonio, if he played for the Kansas City Chiefs, he will be wearing a gold jacket if he played for Kansas City.
He would be wearing a gold jacket if he bought a gold jacket.
Okay.
If he went somewhere to buy a gold jacket.
That's a nice, cheap line, but you know you're wrong, and we all know you're wrong on that.
100%. He's not even healthy enough.
You are 100% wrong. You could not be more wrong on that. I was the one to meet you I don't condone losing, and I don't want to lose, and I don't want to agree with you on that. But Nick had said it yesterday, and I saw Nick's point of view. He goes, if you're going to lose a game, that's the best way to lose a game because all your kids played well. But I don't want to go out there and lose because, again, how many of these teams that have tanked has it really, 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 truly worked out for? And if you give me the Commanders, I almost called them the Commodores. If you give me the Commodores and Lionel Richie, I'm going to show you 20 years before where they lost, and then they finally got lucky. So now the plan is luck. And the plan should never be luck.
The plan is not to tank. The plan is to go play as well as your personnel is without making everything about winning.
That's tanking. That's tanking. Not playing as well as tanking.
We're not starting We're not starting bench players out there. We're going out there with our best foot forward, and we're going out there developing young guys.
Not playing to your best and not wanting to win is tanking, Malone. That's exactly what it is. You just gave me the definition of it. That's what it was. I can't believe you didn't give him the boot.
But wait a second. So what is he arguing?
It's your call, Owen.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm confused. What is he arguing?
He was glad we lost. He was glad we lost.
Oh, okay.
And then it got really weird about Joe Bitonio, which maybe I should have bogged it down about that. Yeah. But I know he's wrong, and the voters for the Hall of Fame would know he's wrong because we talked to the voters of the Hall of Fame, and that's what they say. It's more than the people in Cleveland, for Christ's sake.
The only time you really need to start talking about a tanking situation and is a team that's already losing a bunch of games, and then the question is over the last month of the year, who are you playing? What are you doing? Who is quarterbacking? You don't need to talk about it today. Look, if they're a bad team, the losing happens. It permeates anyway. And you're always going to have stiff competition with the other losing teams. I will say this. There were people, I remember in the training camp, that were like, why even bother starting Joe Flacco? You're wasting your time. Well, I can tell you why. Harold Fannin, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Samson.
Thank you.
I mean, if DTR is your starting quarterback,
what a great point.
What are we saying about Harold Fannin today? If DTR was your starting quarterback Sunday?
Where was Harold Fannin? That's what we
you
would
wouldn't
be
even
saying.
have gotten first downs.
Where was Harold Fannin? Why do we draft this guy in the 3rd round and we can't even find him? That's what we'd be saying. It's one of the greatest points you've ever made. You've made a lot. I got to give credit where it's due.
But it's
one of the greatest points you've ever made.
It's so obvious. Like, at least Flacco can conduct an offense, put the ball on, and I get it. He wasn't flawless on Sunday, but he was damn good enough to where you can at least evaluate where you are at offensively.
That level of thinking is insane. Like, we may get to a point this season. I was willing to say it last year. Like, I will never, ever hope they lose. It will never, ever happen. I will never secretly hope they lose or outwardly hope they lose for anything because I don't believe in tanking. We may get to a point where I don't care if they lose. We may get to a point there. Like, we got to the point last year, late December, I did not give a bleep that they lost some of those games. I felt bad for Joel maybe because it was maybe his last season, I thought, but he's back this year. I'll get to the point where if they lose enough, I will not care if they lose. But that is insane to start the season thinking that. And they've done that before. And by the way, they still botched it. We're still dealing with this 9 years later. Like, do we not understand it? Like, they did. They tried that before, and even they said they don't want to do it. The Jaguars, how many times did they tank it out? How many times did it actually work? The Dolphins, how many times did they tank it out? How many times has it actually worked? How many examples does it have to be given before it finally gets through the smartest guys in the room's head? And I'm not even talking about the Browns. I'm talking about football Twitter, the guys who claim they're really into analytics and really they have their head up their ass. I mean, there's good, strong people who know analytics that are in NFL offices and in NFL rooms who know what they're doing. And then there's plenty of guys who just claim that they know what they're looking at and they really have their head up their ass. And that's the issue that I have. Because you sit there and tell me that they're supposed to lose of it, and even then they still screw it up. And you keep telling me that the Browns are getting the results that they need. The Browns are getting the results that they need. They got guys playing well, and they're still losing. And what did we do the last time? What did we do the last time? What did we do the time before? What did we do the time before that since 1999? How many times does it take before it finally gets through some of your heads while you host your shows and your podcasts and you laugh at the Browns? Literally quite laugh at the Browns. But hey, they got great guys. Kevin Stefanski's a genius. Andrew Berry, infallible. Never question them. Never say anything about them. People in Cleveland, the radio shows in Cleveland are boobs. They don't know ball. I know ball. And I'm telling you right now, this is what they need to be doing. Okay, why? Because you believe the garbage about what they said about the owner? Okay, just making sure. Because there's 2 guys here who know the truth. There's another guy over the Athletic here who knows the truth. 2 guys over the Athletic who know the truth. Okay. That's fine. We all believe what we want to believe. But I only see it in the evidence. I got teams that haven't tanked it out. I got a couple of teams that, yeah, you know what? They got lucky. They were based around their quarterback. Their quarterback got hurt. It happened. But I got plenty of teams that just don't tank it out, and they find ways to be good. How many people picked the Packers? How many people have picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl this year? How many? Many? How many years did they tank? How many years did the Green Bay Packers tank? I want to know. All you smart guys who have your head up your ass, how many years did the Green Bay Packers tank? Okay. Can I rest my case now? We'll be back in 5 on the Fan. Sorry. Go ahead. It's me. Northeast.
content filtered right to your phone during the regular season by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Find out what happened in Berea while you're working. The Afternoon Drive, weekdays at 2, 92.3 The Fan.
.722, it's just a home run ball. Relax. Sorry Tiger got out of the cage there, Tone. Let's get back to brass tacks. You want to get back to it? You want to do it?
Okay.
All right. The reason that people are so mad, like some people are like, calm down, it's only one game. The reason why Browns fans were so mad about Sunday, it was that your rookies played so well. It was that the rest of the team played so well. It was that a kicker cost you the game. Well, at least we believe he did, even though, boy, Lima, you poked a great hole into it on the phone yesterday. We were like, well, you still had time to go back down the field. You still had time to, if you wouldn't have thrown the interception that was bobbled, do we sit there and blame Andre Schmidt? He would have got maybe a third chance to go out there or a second chance to go win the game or to take the lead. Are we sure that Joe Burrow wouldn't have gone down the field? Like, these are unknown knowns. We feel good about the rest of the team.
We did, and I'm one of them. I mean, if you would have asked, we did ask right after the game, like, who's the reason you lost the game? We all said the same thing, the kicker. But it wasn't the same as when a kicker misses game on the line, game-winning attempt, and it's a chip shot and then misses. That's clearly the kicker, right? Especially when you're underdogs, you're 5.5, 6-point underdogs. Everybody is gearing up for Cincinnati to actually be the Bengals again, and all they cared about was getting off to a good start. And yet, you played so dominantly defensively. There was still a lot of football to be played after that miss. After that last miss, and you had the ball, and you were driving, and you had the ball a couple of times in Cincinnati territory, and you came away, with no points, obviously. The kicker, because he missed the extra point earlier, but even if he would have made the extra point, even if he would have made the field goal kick, Burrow still would have had a chance. And as we know so often in football, like the last 2 minutes of a game can, in many, many occasions, not mirror anything we've seen all game. Like, quarterbacks just seem to be able to drive the ball at the end of games pretty easily because it's like a helter-skelter situation. It's just not the same. And I do wonder, like, Burrow, if you would have given him enough chances, would he eventually, I know we were dominant, and it looked impossible for him in the second half, but would he eventually had a chance to go down the field?
Great players, if you give them enough chances, they're gonna cash in at some point. And that's why I really like Kevin Stefanski's game plan. I think some people calmed down by yesterday morning about it, but I really liked his game plan. Some people thought, well, he's coaching not to win. He's coaching not to lose. He's not coaching to win. I think he was coaching to win. I think that he knew that offense that they have, you do not want to get in a shooting match with them, especially because you're going back to your offense, but you have young guys, new guys within that offense. I don't think you wanted to do that. I think that defense played well enough to win that football game, and that's what made it so difficult to go through that process. But I also think that a lot of fans are looking ahead of themselves going, okay, where's the first one? Like, it didn't get any better at night when Baltimore lost against Buffalo, so now it feels like, well, they're going to be coming out loaded for Bear next coming up this Sunday.
And then the home game is Green Bay. The problem with that is Green Bay has extra time to get ready for you. They're going to be rested, because they're playing the Thursday night game. So that's you're going to be major, big time underdog. Could you be double-digit underdogs for that game too?
For the Green Bay game?
Yeah.
It's still at home. But it still could be like 8.5, 9.5, depending on what they do on Sunday. Like, if they go out there and they play well again on Sunday, win or lose, maybe it'll be 6.5, 7.5, somewhere in there. Then you have Detroit. Like, Detroit's probably, but it's only week one. Like, I'm talking about a team that's been really, really good over the last couple of years. And it's only week one, but I'm going, man, our defense looks pretty good, and their offense looked really bad. I went back and watched that game. Their offense looked really bad, like out of sorts, like they need Ben Johnson back bad just on Sunday against Green Bay. And then you got the Vikings. All right, they got a rookie, but he had a hot hand at the end of the game. Like, now we're just starting to do the math over here. Pittsburgh. All right, their defense is bad, but, Aaron Rodgers, he played pretty well on Sunday. Like, we only got one game to go off of. Now, I think we'll start to figure things more out this week, but it does feel like, October 19th is when they play the Fish at home? That doesn't look like a football team right now. No. That just looks like a bunch of coworkers wearing the same uniform.
They're the worst team of the weekend, right?
Oh, I think by far. Panthers were pretty bad. Bryce Young was pretty bad, but they were listless out there. I thought that pass rush was going to be kind of flavorful. There was nothing there. Daniel Jones had a wide open pocket the entire game. Like, you guys know what I think of Daniel Jones, but he's still a professional quarterback that can make all the throws. And if you leave him open and just play pitch and catch, that's exactly what he's going to do. So, I mean, I don't mean to bog it down with the football guy stuff, but that's game, 7? 7? Like, you're definitely going to win a game before then, aren't you?
Well, the other aspect you're wondering is, I'd like to think we're going to run the ball better, so that'll get better, hopefully. Our offensive linemen are too good for us to run the ball like that.
There's going to be a lot of quick shot Judkins, but
and I don't know if you're going to have him this week.
Something on him unreal. Well, it was weird because Adam Schefter said he could be back by this weekend.
It's a lot to ask.
Kevin kind of poured some cold water on it yesterday in his media availability.
I'm guessing no, not this week, but maybe the following week, you get him back. But I expect us to be able to run the ball better than 2.1 yards and 40 yards, from scrimmage in the running game. The thing is, we know the Flacco real interceptions are coming. Not what we saw on Sunday where I thought he played interception free. They obviously led to 2 interceptions, but not on him at all. I don't know how anybody could characterize those as on him. So we know, like Flacco in his career, he's going to throw some bad picks. He's not going to see something, or he's going to be a little too aggressive. And what happens if they're playing Detroit and you got a chance, and then the real Flacco that we've known and loved, it's part of what you love about Joe Flacco.
But it's going to show up.
Yeah,
and
that's going to happen.
Be a problem. Like, what I get angry about, what I got so angry about with the last caller was, if they do this, this, and this, and they still lose, we're fine. How often in a football game does everybody do this, this, and this? How many times are they all going to play well and you're still going to lose? I guarantee you, by the time you get to the Vikings game in London and you are 0-4 rolling into that game, you're probably going to have some fart. You're probably going to have somebody who you thought played well that isn't playing well anymore. We're going to be wondering about certain guys like that. It permeates because it can't be perfect every single week. And so we're asking him to do 2 things. Almost ask him too much to lose and then look good while doing it. It's almost impossible. So maybe they can, but I don't understand if they could play so well that they would just lose those games. So I'm not thinking they're going to get their doors blown off in every single one of those games. But that's going to have a real effect on this fan base and a real effect on this organization. Because if we find ourselves again where the running game can't go, and then you're talking about Joe putting the ball in the air and we're turning it over, then we're talking about short fields. In week 1, it's easy to have the best attitude about things. Go, okay, let's go out there, let's make a stop. Let's get out of here with 3 or nothing. Let's go make a stop. But you know what? By mid-October, you're turning the ball over and I got to go. I'm on the oxygen, and now I got to go back out there, and we got the ball. I'm sorry, they're at our 29. You're starting to get angry at the offense. And don't tell me I ain't never gone through Miles' head. And he would be, and he's, of all the things that people say about him, he'd probably be rightfully so to do so. Like, that gets tiresome real quick. And it's been 2 years of that. And if you feel like you're going to go into 3 years, no, then they're not all going to play well. And then just the basic arguments are going to show up. Like, guys start giving up plays. Greg Newsome gives up a throw. Well, now he wasted that. Like, it starts to roll downhill.
Yeah, load management week.
So to tell me that, yes, in one game, you had a group of guys play really, really well, and it didn't go our way because of the kick. Nick was right. I'm not even disagreeing with what Nick said. But to say that you are hoping for that every single week, it's just unrealistic. You will have a emotional breakdown within the organization where, no, you are not a football team anymore. You will be coworkers. And we've been down that road many times. And I don't want to do that right now. Frank in Cleveland, you're first up on the Fan. Yellow.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hi, Frank.
Hey, man, I'm not, listen, I don't want them to lose, but what I saw Sunday, man, I was kind of proud of them, man. We ain't had in a long time a lot of our rookies looking good on the field at the same time. I know Njoku should be mad because I ain't seen him get the ball as much time as Fanny got the ball, but, man, we looked good. I'm glad Joe quarterbacking, man. He didn't press everything. Some of them sacks he took, he supposed to took them because last year he would have forced them. The interceptions, man, we cool, man. I ain't tripping. I wasn't expecting to win this season, man, but I want our rookies. If they finally took some picks and they looking good, and next year, man, I'm next year, but I want to see good football, and they play good football Sunday, man.
What do you think about the front office and the coaching staff?
Man, we ain't even had that conversation.
But okay. So if they do all that a bunch and they go like 3-14, hold on.
Look good.
You know where I'm going with this. So they've done what you wanted them to do.
Man, I don't diss what I be saying about him, man. When he coach a good game, and then next week he do fart. He blow a fart sometimes, but it's only when he got to try to come from behind, man.
So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if you don't like this front office, you don't like this coaching staff, but they do exactly what you want them to do? They go 3-14 this year and say they got the number 1 overall pick. You gonna trust some of that new rookie?
No, we're not going no 14. I've told y'all, man, we're going to win more games than what everybody's thinking.
I hope so.
They better not let us come out of these first 6 games 500 because that rest of that slate.
I'll tell you what, if Andre Schmidt goes out there and misses another one like that, I'm going to start looking at, if you're one of them players, you start looking around going, who's leading us now? It becomes very easy to be selfish in the NFL when you start losing. Like he mentioned David Njoku. I'm like, in my head, I'm going, well, David Njoku's check is going to cash. That's going to be fine. And he's a trade commodity coming up this trade season. So he can end up being on a very competitive football team very, very quickly. Like that's what starts to go through your head because you lose. And I don't want that to happen. I want there to be a real big argument halfway through the year if you're in the hunt of what to do with David Njoku at that, not at an advanced age. I mean, good God, he started in the league when he was 20 years old.
But he came in young.
What to do with him when you have Harold Fannin, who looked real, real good on Sunday. I want that to be the argument instead of, all right, how much can we get for David? How much can we get for Wyatt? 216-474-0092. And maybe that's more of a hope. Maybe I need to be more realistic. We'll find that out in the coming weeks. Coming up at 7:45, another no-hit bid falls short, but it was still a great outing that we needed desperately as we try to claw our way back into the wild card. And speaking of baseball, guys, it's just a baseball. They sell them at the team shop now. We need to relax. Ken Carman, Anthony Lyman, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
All right, real
Now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Guys, just a baseball. This is a controversy that has taken the internet by storm. We've had a lot of other important things to get into. And I don't know if this is real. They say that so there's a woman called Philly's Karen. And there was a baseball game over the weekend where a home run ball landed by a woman and her family. She went reaching over to the row beneath her, went to grab the baseball. A man runs over, plucks the baseball from the ground or from the floor on the cement where the stands are. Runs back over, hands it to his kid. Philly's Karen, who they're calling now. I gotta admit, she does kind of look like Elizabeth Warren.
Okay,
let's be honest here. Not trying to get political with you. Philly's Karen goes marching right over there to the other side of the section and takes it from the guy. And this is my baseball. And it has caused a stir to the point where I don't even know what's real. I have no idea what's real. KTLA has reported on it. I think we got some audio here. Here we go. This is KTLA's audio report of the Philly's Karen incident.
An update on the internet's newest villain, the woman that they call Philly's Karen. Home run into the stands at the Phillies Marlin game on Friday sent fans scrambling, hot potato. So a dad scooped up the ball, took it back to his son, and then a woman races over and confronts the dad and demands the ball.
What?
From the child.
What is wrong with this person?
Eventually the dad gives in and ends up handing over the ball. Some are defending her. One commenter said she's a sweet old woman and dad took advantage of her lack of agility.
So I don't know what happened in the sense other than
lack of it. There's real Hunger Games out there.
I think the opposing team gave him a gift basket, and then he got to see Harrison Bader or whatever.
Having fun with it, right?
And he got like a signed baseball bat and the whole deal, right? So the kid ended up making out on it, but the conversation, the controversy has moved on. Like I don't know if this is real. People are saying that she lost her job over this, which I don't know how you can fire a school teacher or something for grabbing a baseball out of a guy's hand.
There's a school teacher that says, "This is not me. Stop saying that it's me."
Okay.
There's been a lot of stuff that I don't know that we can correctly identify who it is.
On my dead mother, I might have felt this way when I was 8 years old. I got to a certain age. I never cared about home run balls or foul balls, and I'm not going out of my way. I'm not going out of my way to leap over people, to yank it from people. Over on the home run porch at Progressive, I'm not going to start a fist fight with people on the ground next to the bleachers over these home run balls and batting practice or during games or anything. It just ain't going to happen. I think that Zach guy who runs around and gets kicked out of baseball parks, trying to get baseballs. I think he's a weirdo.
Yeah, he's made it his whole thing.
They sell
in content creation.
Guys, they sell them at the team shop for like $10. Don't they have them in a bag? And they have it's a mystery thing. You can buy a home run ball, you can buy a foul ball. Usually a foul ball. You don't know who it came off of.
But
I think it's in the bag.
The price is.
That's not the same though, Kenny.
But who cares?
That's
it's just a baseball for crying out loud.
Not the same though.
Why does it matter?
Because
why?
Well, first off, it was the kid's birthday, right? So
okay.
It's different when you watch it fly off the bat and you have that memory. The memory from the kid is not, remember that time you took me to the team shop and we bought a random bag? It's remember everything about the day, and this is the thing that exclamation pointed it.
My first ever baseball game, my dad bought me...
I disagree with you.
My first ever baseball game, my dad bought me an Albert Bell plaque at the team shop. He goes, you can have one thing. And I wanted an Albert Bell plaque.
Would have been cooler if Albert Bell ran it right through you like he did on the base path.
Or if it went off
he chased you down and...
My dad totally agreed with Albert Bell about that for another separate incident. But either way, I don't... Why was it a big deal? I don't care if it was the kid's
not a
birthday.
Baseball, Ken.
Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter if it was the kid's birthday. You know what the kid's birthday present is? Going to the Phillies game. The kid got to go to the Phillies game. That's what he got to do.
Baseball.
Well, here's what I'm wondering. when my son is still too young to even care about this, but when my son is of age, and yes, going to go to games, I'm going to take him to games, and it's going to be a real bonding experience. Yes, the kid will be on cloud 9 that he's at the game, but what's the next thing? The next thing is, Dad, need a baseball.
Yeah, we'll go down to the team shop and buy one.
And obviously what I'm saying is that's not the same. The kid is always looking for their dad to be the hero, right?
Yeah.
In their story and their
I'm
life.
the hero by taking him to the baseball game.
Sure, but then it's the next thing. Kids always want more.
But I don't care what kids think of and what they don't think of. I'm telling it how it is.
Sound like a great father.
My dad was because I look back on it now, and my dad was the hero just by taking me to the Indians game. That was the hero moment.
I think generationally, kids don't think like that anymore.
Well,
kids
then
have a lot more now than they had.
I need to be on the scoreboard.
Then I
need a celebration of my life on the scoreboard.
Well, guess what? My kids ain't that special. They ain't that great, and I'll make sure that they know about it, because I'm telling you right now, tickets aren't easy to come by for a lot of people. Okay, yes, we are blessed to be in a business where the tickets are a little bit easier to come by for us. I will firmly admit.
Us?
But you're able to get to these games. You got to go to the games.
On tickets.
It's a blessing to go to the games. Exactly. That's $1,000 less bucks that you have in your pocket to do other things. Your kid should be very happy that they even got to go to the game. That's the hero part of it. If you happen to have a ball that blesses you from the sky that ends up in your purview, then go ahead and take the thing. But I'm not going to act like an animal over a foul ball.
You think he acted like an animal? You think this dad
honestly,
acted like an animal?
I thought running down the row to the other side of the section was a bit much. I thought it was a bit much. I thought what the woman did was even more absurd. I thought what the guy did and what she did was even worse.
I got the video up. It's not like he chased it down and jumped in front of her. It fell down into the row in front of her as well.
Yeah.
And he went over into the row that he's in.
And it's a mad scramble for the ball.
But that's the thing.
And eventually
You're
it's
a grown man.
It's always going to be a
he gave his son a baseball.
who wants it more at that point. But when
I'm not going to a
and then he
ball
also
game.
did the right thing by just giving it back to her and de-escalating.
I'm not going to a ball game for a test of wills or who wants it more. It's not a feat of strength.
Think about the
No, if anything, I think they're overthinking it.
I disagree with you.
Just the joy of a child, though, to come over. Have your parent comes over and hands you the baseball that you went and got. I mean, that's going to make that child's
Unless your
year,
name's Axel
right?
Carmen, no. Then you go, Dad.
Like he's used to that disappointment.
I was just having. Well, let's just be honest, Ken. Your kid will never be out in the stands. He'll be up in the suites with you. So
no, he's been in the stands.
Tell the truth right now, Ken.
We've been in the stands.
We've
been in the stands.
The balls don't come into the suites, do they?
We're telling the truth
on
things. Tell the truth.
Yes, and that is part of the good thing that he gets.
Meanwhile, my kid stands out on the drink rails and prays to God that a little baseball will fall to his hands.
And with all that alcohol just being drenched all over him.
I don't want to hear it. I'm done with you now on this. You want to compare things.
J.N. Mentor comes in with an Easter basket with the baseballs, and if you're good enough to me, I will fetch your son one of them. No, I'm kidding about all that. But that's the treat. That's a treat. Yeah, you get to go to the TV suite. That's what you get to do. So I don't want to hear anything about foul balls. I don't want to hear anything about baseballs. I want to hear about anything else. Okay? You're lucky to do what you got to do because I didn't get to do those things. All right? My mom had to stay on hold to go get tickets for the Indians when they first got to Progressive Field, and it was an impossible thing to do. And we got lucky 2 years later. My dad took me and my buddy Eric Perry up. My parents did. Yeah. Took me and my buddy Eric Perry up for a tour of Jacobs Field when they first opened it. So we got that,
I'm
which was cool.
retroactively pissed that my parents didn't buy me an iPhone then when I was 8.
And then I remember my parents, my mom.
Just not comparable things.
2 years later, we went to our first Indians game. We finally were able to get tickets, and my mom was pissed because the place was packed. It was packed. There's 40,000 people there, and there was some kid reading a book. And my mom sitting there going, I had to be on the phone for this long to be able to get tickets, and this kid down here is reading a book. I can't imagine if that was you, Kenny. Like, yeah, because you're at a baseball game, all right? You should be there, and you should take advantage of it. That's the heroic part of it. Okay, my kid doesn't deserve every single thing that's there. If there's a memory that's there, fine. I can't just go creating it out of nowhere. I'll tell you right now,
Cleveland radio host takes Philly's Karen's side.
I don't take her side. I thought she acted like an idiot.
You thought everybody acted like an idiot.
I don't think the guy should have ran over there. And I really don't think that old woman should have ran over there and tried to rip the ball away from him and cause a great big stir over a baseball. I think it's all stupid. But I'm going to tell you right now, if at the end of all this, if the difference is my son liking me or not coming down to a home run ball, then boy, I've really failed as a dad now, haven't I?
Ken just stays motionless in his seat the entire game.
I'm not running around for that stupid stuff.
I'm not budging.
I'm not moving for that dumb stuff. Foul balls and home run balls and all that crap. I don't care. I never cared. I didn't care. I barely cared when I was a kid. I never got a foul ball, and my childhood was awesome. I never got a home run ball. My childhood was awesome. When we went to the Canton Akron Indians game, and I got Bartolo Colon's autograph on my hat, what's the story I always tell? We all were there Video Tracks was there, and I will never forget, it's Bartolo Colon, and he had this beautiful black Lexus, and on each side of him, they looked like twins that were wearing the same dress, two of the most curvaceous Latino women you have ever seen in your life. And I knew then at 8 years old, I don't know exactly what I like about this, but I like this. And I wasn't paying attention to Bartolo Colon. He signed my hat, and I'm looking at them.
If Big Kenny was half the father that you were, he would have went and got you one of those curvaceous Latino women.
Not giving one of those back.
No. Fight Karen over one of them, I'll tell you that right now. John and Wadsworth.
Conchita.
Hello, John.
Good morning, Ken. What's going on? This is not a stance I thought you would have on this topic.
Why?
Thank you, John.
It doesn't. You're like nostalgia guy, and now you're kind of like crusty old man guy. I don't know. I called him because I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But this was back in I want to say 2010. And my stepson was 9 or 10 years old. Well, his father never took him to a game, and so I took my wife now was my girlfriend at the time. So I took him and his step and his sister to their first Indians game, and we got there. They got us bleacher tickets, and John Adams was up there with the drum, and I went up there and asked him real nice, and my stepson was thrilled. He got to beat the drum. Then we walked around. We got him hot dogs, and he got the little plaque and the baseball from the guy that how they write out your name for your first baseball game and stuff. And when he went to school for weeks, he never said, "Oh, my mom's boyfriend took me to my first game. It was, look at this, I got a plaque, I got a baseball, I got to hit the drum." But now that he's 25 years old, now his memory is, well, my stepdad took the time to get me to my first ball game. So I understand what you're saying, but that memory of, it's the experience is going to come later. For right now, that kid getting the baseball is awesome.
If he gets a baseball, if the ball is hit to him, and or hit to me, and I'm able to catch the baseball with my bare hands, because I ain't bringing no glove to a game either. If I'm able to catch the thing, then fine. But I'm not running all over God's green earth in a stadium for a baseball and getting into it with strangers over a baseball. It ain't gonna happen.
John, you should have went to the Pearl store and bought your kid a bass drum instead of letting him hit John.
Come on.
It's the same thing.
Only Tama for my kid. Only Tama for my kid.
John, it's a nice story. It's a great story, and I'm glad you did, and thank you very much for the call. But I tell you, my first Indians game, it is a Norman Rockwell painting. It is a story in the Saturday Evening Post, and I've told it too many times to count. I didn't get no baseball, and I had a great time. I remember everything. I remember every single thing about it, to the point I get misty about it almost. And I just, man, if a foul ball is hit to me or a home run ball is hit to me, if I get it, fine. But you know what? Even if I don't, I'm not going to sit there and start berating. I'm not going to rain blows upon a stranger over a foul ball, over a home run ball. I'm certainly not going to race anybody to the spot for it. I'm not that fast. 216-474-0090. I mean, they're all in. Let me try to get Nick and Talmadge real quick. Hello, Nick.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
I'm doing well, Nick. Go ahead.
Listen, I normally agree with you, and I think the perspective you're coming from is kind of in theory, yes, as the kid, is that going to make him love you? Is that going to do all these things? But I think if you pulled everybody by and large, getting a ball at a game is huge. I remember in high school, me and my buddies skipped school, and when we'd sign out like Bo Diaz or that, just old Indians players, Ron Hannafy, guys like that. That's the name we'd sign out at. We went to the game, and I got a Rod Carew home run ball. Now, that ball, and me and my buddies still talk about to this day, was awesome. And I sprinted for it. Now, granted, there's only 3,000 paid attendance, which means there were 482
and
people
everybody
there,
was getting a ball.
Yeah, everybody was getting one, but it's part of our childhood, and it's just not part of yours. That's all.
It's not.
It's not. And the angle you're coming from is you're almost talking like it's factual, like that shouldn't mean this, that shouldn't mean. But in reality,
no,
I think if you poll most people, it's going to be huge. And I think when Anthony takes his kids to a game, I even took my daughters to a game, spring training game. And we had one of the players threw my kid a ball, and it was great. We still talk about that, and she's not even a sports nut. So I don't know.
I don't think it's not a nice thing, Nick. If you get it, you get it. But I just look at my son. I go, you got enough. I don't need to run. I don't need to go over and elbow out. Like if you and Nick, have we ever met in real life?
No.
Okay.
We've chatted through Facebook.
Okay, so so this is the beauty of it. So I don't need to go over there and elbow you in the ribs for a home run ball and take away the opportunity from your kid and have you hate the strangers the rest of your life. Like, hey, you get the home run ball over there, that's great. I'm not going to go over and chase down home run balls or foul balls or anything like that.
Let me ask you one quick question, Ken. Let's say you're at the game with your kid, and let's say it's at 20 feet away, but let's say it's a monumental home run. Let's say it's I remember diving on the pile for Albert's 50th. Like, let's say it's something huge like that. Does that change the perspective for you?
See, this is where I know I'm different.
500th home run ball or something.
This is where I know I'm different, and I know I'm in the vast minority here, Nick. And I do have to go. I gotta let you go, but I don't care about memorabilia.
Ken's the kind of guy.
I do not.
He promised the sick kid in the hospital.
You're looking up at the news and you just thought of that. I know you just thought of that right now.
His real thought.
He's going to promise him a pair of sacrifice flies. 2 of them.
Yep.
Not just 1, 2. I'll get you 2 sacrifice flies.
I went up to Timmy and I said, Timmy, I promise you, I'm going to get you 2 of those balls that they throw to the pitcher and the pitcher checks and is like, I don't like this one. And he kind of half arms it back over there to the ball boy. I'm going to get you 2 of those, son, for you. For you and you alone.
It's got to be 2.
Mr. Carmen, will you just go to break on time for me once?
I'm sorry. About last night, coming up in 5 minutes, where Slade Ciccone nearly made history. People have been fighting over those balls coming up here on the Fan.
XTENDAV.com.
Wall-to-wall carpet. Schedule your work today. Arslanianbros.com.
Tune in Thursday nights at 7 to hear from the Browns head coach himself.
Points are at a premium, obviously, so that's frustrating. We are not going to play perfect. We're not going to coach perfect. There's going to be times that we don't do it exactly how we want it to be done. So we'll clean those things up. But yeah, those are frustrating moments.
The Kevin Stefanski Show, Thursday night at 7.
Your home for Browns football, 92.3 The Fan.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
I really share in our fans' disappointment, frustration. Honestly, I'm embarrassed.
They've been through some tough battles, right? They know what the playoffs looks like. This team's been battle-tested in the playoffs.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Well, it was a good start to the series for the Cleveland Guardians last night, a 10-2 victory over the Kansas City Royals. Not only did the Guardians lineup knock out 16 hits, but Slade Cecconi knocking down the Royals lineup through 8 1/3 innings, no-hitter until he gave up the no-hitter breaking single in the top half of that frame. Cecconi talking to the post game about his reaction to giving up his first hit of the contest.
As soon as he hit it, I didn't even want to look. I just was like, no. But Brokey saved the no-hitter twice, and Schneeman saved it once. So, I mean, hats off to those guys for even helping me get to that point. That means my defense was working.
It's funny, we started the show talking about, us not talking about the no-hitter and like how it could jinx it. Mm-hmm. My friend in the group chat after it happened was like, at this point, guys, just say it's happening. Don't even walk around it at this point.
So
he just
you and
wants
your buddies, you and your buddies don't want to jinx it.
I never like to jinx it. I always like to say,
I don't think you're going to jinx it. Does does the baseball gods believe that you are going to jinx it? Mitch Spinell, former All-Ohio baseball player.
I mean, this is the same station that earlier this week had somebody saying God hates Cleveland, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, that was a caller.
It was a caller, but I don't know. I don't feel good just mentioning the actual term itself. I want to just let it play itself out. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I feel like if I say it, it's guaranteed not to happen.
I think you can say it all you want. I think people who may be directly involved or adjacent to being directly involved, I think are the ones that end up getting blamed.
Well, when you happens.
I think you say it all you want.
When you are paid by the teams, the networks to broadcast the games, or if you are somebody who's there day in and day out, you're going to have to answer to people. And baseball players are so damn superstitious.
Well, yeah.
So if the clubhouse catches wind that you're out there jinxing no-hitters and they believe in that stuff, you got to answer to them.
There's also, if your dad's out there mowing the grass and he gets done mowing the grass and you're in the 7th inning, you're like, Papa, hello, Papa, Papa, come in here now, pronto, Papa. And he's like, why? But Papa, you won't tell him? You got to tell him why he wants in there, or you're just going to annoy your dad.
I wouldn't tell him I'm part of some royal family the way you just did it.
Oh, that's how I expect you to talk to Gary.
You've met Garrett and you've seen me talk to him. You think I'm talking to him like that?
I thought you were just putting on airs for me.
Oh.
I feel you would call him Papa. It's time for Guardians baseball.
Well, it's actually time for Browns football. Going from Guardians baseball to that, we had Kevin Stefanski yesterday, not exactly confirming whether or not Andre Schmidt is the quarterback or the kicker of the future, rather, for the Browns. But he was asked this question in his press conference yesterday. How hard is it to know when it's time to make a move at the kicking spot?
Yeah, I think, listen, we trust our guys. We get to watch our guys work. We get to watch them all off-season, all training camp, preseason, practices, games, all those things. So we trust our guys to come through for us. And I know a lot of credit and blame gets doled out after wins and losses, but this is a team game, and we'll own this one together as a loss.
This press conference even got down to the way the kicks were held. Somebody asked him a question about the way the kicks were held.
Where the laces. So, Kenny, we got into a big dust-up to start the show yesterday on this.
You were right.
Well, no, I don't.
Looks like they're holding on to
I don't know anything about that.
You and Andrew and Kevin are in lockstep.
What I wonder, we are thought companions. What I do wonder,
thought partners.
I like companions better. In fact, they should just start saying that.
Thought companions.
It's a warmer and fuzzier term. So they like to think, or we would all like to think, and if you are in support of this organization, they're smarter, right? They're smarter. They're analytical. They are always strategizing. They're not just going to throw stuff
but the big
up in the air.
Stupid Eagles out there just go out there and win Super Bowls, but at least we're smart.
But when it comes to the kicker, what are they truly doing to decide whether it's right to move on from him? What are they doing? What is going into it? Doesn't the data go out the window at this point? I mean, They're just going to have to give them one more kick now, one more extra point, or how many touchdowns they're going to score against Baltimore. How many opportunities is this dude? Now, first of all, they go for it on every fourth down. Last year, they went for it more than anybody else. We saw it, and it worked out early on that first drive, on Sunday, and then it didn't work out later because they dropped the pass. But either way, they're going for it every single chance they get to go for it. So he's going to get maybe one or two chances on Sunday. What data do they have to look at? What kind of research project do they have to commission?
I don't know their guideposts. I would just bring in other kickers. I would bring in 2 other kickers, and then I would have a kickoff. And I don't know how I put pressure on him, but I would try to put as much pressure on him, then I would make my decision. And I would go, okay, fine, Andre Schmidt really does get to keep the job, or I go, get on out of here. And I'd find somebody else, and he'd have pressure on him, and that's the way it would work. His kickers, the exception of a great few, are a dime a dozen. Which I said, I had a Jan Stenerud reference yesterday on the news, and somebody's like, hey, Jan Stenerud only had a 67% make rate. And I go, man, there are legendary kickers back in the day that we thought like they held on to jobs for a long time. They weren't nearly as good as these guys as far as hitting kicks.
Oh, back then they were kicking with the balls were terrible. They weren't juicing up the balls like they do now, where they're using a completely different ball.
10 yards closer though.
And the
well, that's another thing. Like Bill Belichick, that's why I had no problem watching him have to grind it out against one of the worst teams in FBS the other day. Because I don't care. You got the rules changed, and then you just left. And now we're left to deal with it. And so extra points, while are more entertaining, are no gimmies anymore. And boy, when you miss them, it is one of the most frustrating things you see in football. Have a great drive and then miss that extra point, and you're like, oh, that's not going to come back to hurt us. How many people said that on Sunday? Everybody? Everybody. Go ahead, Mitch.
Well, I was going to fit this one in real quick. Last night, J.J. McCarthy leading the Vikings to a comeback 27-24 against the Bears. 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter from McCarthy. He talked about his first career start and what he'll remember after the game.
Getting the win. That's what I'll remember most. Just being here in the hometown, it's a dream come true. And, to all the kids out there, it's possible. And, I just love my guys and can't wait to go to war next week.
Via ESPN, he looked terrible to start off that game. So it's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, he did. But he was able to step it up at the end. You know who looked really good and then didn't? Was Caleb Williams.
Yes.
And did I beat you to the punch here on Caleb Williams or no?
No.
Because I had an observation. That first drive, he looked really, really good. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, Ben Johnson, you got a new guy. But then after the play script's done, there was a problem. I go, listen, I've been watching the Browns for a long time, and I'll tell you, since 1999, 39 out of 40 quarterbacks, we've had this conversation about play scripts. And 39 out of 40 quarterbacks just ended up being not very good. And if 39 out of 40 quarterbacks, maybe Caleb Williams is the one, but that's a problem. That is a problem. So you take that, any Bears fan that might be listening out there. I know one Bears fan, Mike out in Youngstown. I know one Bears fan. If you're listening, you take that one for data. That one might be a scary thing.
That's it for About Last Night.
Outstanding.
Kenny, I'm annoyed with the Bears. If any of the national stuff that I consume,
I'm annoyed with the Texans.
The Bears get a disproportionate amount of coverage.
Really?
Since Caleb Williams got drafted. And I don't find him to be nearly as interesting as I think a lot of other people do.
Oh, are we going to do the unwatchables this year?
Might have to.
Are there any teams you are finding to be unwatchable after week one?
Ooh.
Save it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I thought the Saints would be that. Spencer Rattler was kind of fun to watch on Sunday when I went back.
John Greco going to join us here in 5 minutes.
Owen.
What was his...
Gross.
I'm telling you.
Gross. You're a gross football
He had
fan.
some nice throws.
But you weren't entertained by the Browns and the Bengals, but you like Spencer Rattler.
Rattler was the number 1 quarterback in the country.
We'll never agree on
Documented
football.
on Netflix, age 15. It's considered like one of the worst humans in football ever. He was 15.
You have completely disqualified yourself from ever being a football guy. John Greco going to join us in 5 minutes. What was his grade for DeJuan Jones? Do we have a problem or do we have a promising future? He's going to talk to us about that next, among other issues, on The Fan.
Whether you're a football guy or not a football guy, doesn't matter. At Fanatic Sports.
Right here on 92.3 The Fan, Vikings come back, beat the Bears 27-24 in the fourth quarter. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy passed for 2 touchdowns and ran for another. Listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, and can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I would suggest to you that Stefanski's done enough that, certainly he has, in my mind, all of this year and then whatever he would get the next. Last year was really, in my mind, I don't know, seems like his first really bad year. I think that they, barring something unforeseen, I think they're back almost no matter what.
Catch Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker on Afternoon Drive every Wednesday at 4. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
We're live on YouTube right now, 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. It's absolutely live. It's absolutely free. There are fans trolling each other in the comments right now. It's just a great big troll off, basically, in the comments. I didn't know. I thought that they were going to troll us. They're trolling each other right now.
A little bit of both.
Either about Shedeur Sanders, either about the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. Ray Farmer is being mentioned in the chat right now. So things are going well over there on YouTube Live. So get on over there, watch us right now.
I think a lot of people from around the country are in that area, so they're the ones that are probably compelled right now to be talking about Shedeur, since he's not a focal point now until we get to at least the next quarterback, and then that conversation would grow. But question is, how long can Joe Flacco stave off that? And if he plays like he did in week 1, probably a pretty long time.
All right, let's bring in John Greco. He's on the Fan Hotline. Let's talk about all this. Well, we're not going to talk about YouTube Live with him, but either way, he's appearing on the Fan Hotline. We'll talk about the Browns game on Sunday and look forward to the Ravens game coming up this Sunday. Hello, John.
Ken and Anthony, good to be with you. Always a pleasure.
John, all right, what'd you think of DeJuan Jones on Sunday?
DeJuan held his own. Trey Hendrickson obviously is a premier pass rusher in this league, and there were times that I thought Trey, got edgy on him, got some edges, and he gave up some pressures. But that's going to happen. I'm sure the left tackle that was playing against Myles Garrett is, wiping his brow today and yesterday, and thanking God that he's beyond that and has to wait till next time. But DeJuan, I thought looked good in the run game. I think across the board, the guys, have to improve quickly with the zone schemes. It didn't seem like they were getting a lot of movement and line of scrimmage displacement. But DeJuan, he struggled against a premier pass rusher at times, and a lot of guys are going to do that. A lot of left tackles are going to do that in this league against Trey Hendrickson. So I wasn't discouraged. Hopefully he can continue to keep working hard and studying his opponents and building a good game plan against the guys he's going to be seeing week in and week out, because there's no off weeks. Even though you're not going to see guys like Trey Hendrickson every week, he's going to see Micah Parsons in a few weeks. The Ravens have some serious dogs over there that can rush the passer. That's just every team has that. So, I know that he's in a room with some vets, some guys that know how to prepare. He's done that, and I would expect him to continue to get better. But, I thought he held his own against a premier pass rusher in the league.
John, what did you think of all the different gadgets that you knew Stefanski? He was in his bag, as the kids say. He had, the Herald Fannin lined up all over.
I'm not going to say it anymore after you just said it.
Double tight ends, doing what they do. And obviously a lot of the swing passes, they had to be resourceful in the running game. Do you think that was a dream come true for Coach?
I think, he got to kind of dust off the back pages of his playbook, those little binders that these coaches keep with the doodles of plays that they have. But, you mentioned something in there that I don't want to say it's concerning to me, but, all of that is kind of window dressing. And when you're trying to manufacture runs by swing passes and throwing these kind of extended handoffs because the run game isn't going anywhere, that's a little bit concerning. And, hey, look, you got to do what you got to do. The Browns were in this game and in a position to where they could have won the game. And then we could have dissected, hey, they won, they're 1-0, but why couldn't they run the ball a little bit more effectively? And then we can get into that. So yeah, I'm sure, Kevin and the offensive coaches, there's a million plays on that Denny's Wendy menu card. And, they kind of, green check mark some of the plays throughout the week, as the guys execute them at practice. And then they say, this just doesn't make sense this week against whatever defense the opponent's, running, or, what they have success against, opposing offenses. But yeah, they were in a position where they had to try to manufacture yards some way, somehow, and that's what they had to resort to. But, moving guys around, I think that they're still, in kind of the infant stages of the season, to where you don't necessarily want to show those things in the preseason. So I guarantee you they worked on them at practice, but you're seeing them live. So they're trying different things, different concepts, formations, motions, shifts, just to create things and create opportunities for players, especially young players, like you mentioned with Fannin. So, look, that kid's got a bright future, and Browns fans should be excited. So trying to create ways to get him the ball, see what his strengths are, see what his weaknesses are in the game, and try to maximize those things.
What are the teammates thinking of Andre Schmidt right now?
I think today, obviously the guys are off, but, it sucks. And, they're not going to go up to him and say, hey, you lost the game, you ruined it for us. My God, what are you doing? Make your kicks. I don't think anybody's going to do that, but it's going to be more of like a forceful encouragement, like, hey, man, come on, shake that off, but we need you. You could be in that situation again, 4 or 5 days from now, however many days Sunday is from now. But I would think it's more kind of a stern, positive, encouraging, if that makes sense. After the game, when emotions are running high and adrenaline is flowing, maybe things are said, and I'm not saying I heard those things, but, you kind of go over to him after the game and say, hey, look, this is one of many this year. And, let's not be in this situation again. Go back, watch your tape, see what you did wrong, clear your head, and next time you get the opportunity, be the hero. Don't be the GOAT. So if you have another chance to do it this Sunday, hopefully, where you're in a game-winning situation, make that kick, and all of a sudden week one feels a little bit less painful. And that's really, if that was me, that's what I would want. I would want that next opportunity to come as quickly as possible. I wouldn't want it lingering for 3-4 weeks, month and a half, to where I get to prove to everybody, my teammates, myself, the fans, that I'm the guy, that I can make this kick and I can win this game. So hopefully that opportunity comes sooner than later. But you got to execute. I mean, you got to make extra points. And look, they're professionals. When you're asked to go in there and win the game, you got to be able to do it. So that's what I would be doing if I was in the locker room, and that's what I would expect his teammates to be, how they would be responding here on Tuesday and Wednesday.
So I was pretty hot and bothered over the whole thing yesterday, and I said, you know what? I'm not trying to be mean, but we got to find somebody else. How would you have done it? Do you think that the Browns should move on, or do you want to give them another chance? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I heard you saying that yesterday, and Mondays are an emotional days, right, wrong, or indifferent, and it's going to happen. And I think it sucks because the Browns were 5.5-point underdogs in this game. We all thought they had a chance. We knew how they play against Cincinnati, but I don't know if the rest of the league or the rest of the world thought we were going to be in that situation. But I did. I felt good about it. And look at all the positives that were, surrounding this game. And for it to come down to a damn kick that we miss, it just sucks. So I get the emotions, but I don't want to get into a situation where, everybody that makes a mistake, we're ready to move on from them. And there's like the shortest of leashes, because, they can have host tryouts for kickers, whatever they're going to do. I don't know if it's to create some stress or fire under the guy or just to create competition, but okay, so you move on, and I always go back to the grass isn't always greener. And if you get to a new kicker in week 2 and, we're lining up to kick a game-winning field goal against the Ravens, and God forbid that doesn't go in and we end up losing another heartbreaker, are we sitting here on Tuesday in week 3 saying, hey, now we have to have our third kicker in 3 weeks? I mean, that would look absolutely terrible. At that point, I think, maybe coaches would start, being on the big time hot seat. But I'm not ready to really, send him out the pasture yet. But he's got to turn it around, and he's got to turn it around quick, because I think what's so frustrating for fans is, we thought that, the message to us was, hey, this kid was 100% in preseason and camp. He looked so good. And Browns fans were breathing sighs of relief, saying, okay, a lot of the things last year that we saw, a lot of the missed kicks, hopefully that's in the past and no longer a part of us. And then for it to always, be brought front and center again week 1 when we had a chance to win the game, I mean, it hurts. So, I'm with you, and I'm with everybody that's showing those emotions, but I'm not really ready to, rip the Band-Aid off just yet. I want to give the kid another chance.
John, you have to go back a year and a half, basically, to a running performance as bad as what the Browns just delivered in the opener against the Bengals. What do you think was the problem? 2.1 yards per carry, 40 total yards.
Yeah, Anthony, to me, it looked like the strength of the offensive line when the Browns were rocking and rolling with that zone concept was the inside 3 guys. And it just seemed like, I don't know if they weren't on the same page. I don't want to say they weren't on the same page. Those guys have played together enough now, but it just seemed like, without me dissecting the film, and I'm just watching the TV copy, I don't know if the Bengals had just a really good defensive scheme to try to combat it. But look, you have a young rookie running back in there that maybe is still trying to find his way and trust the guys ahead of him. But I thought the inside 3 was an area where that's typically the strength of the 5 in the run game in that zone concept. And I thought those guys didn't meet their potential or what we're used to seeing from them. And it was just, guys defensively getting on an edge, not getting that vertical displacement off the line of scrimmage to where it's creating space for the running back. It just seemed like the running backs weren't able to hit their read and their gap full speed and then make that cut. The backside cutoffs weren't being executed, which is a huge part of the zone run. It's not always the front side point of attack. A lot of times that kind of built-in cutback happens off of those backside cutoff blocks and those backside combination cutoff blocks. And those didn't seem like they were there at times. So that's why I thought the running game was really hamstrung. So later in the game, when they started going to those, gap schemes, the powers with the down blocks and the pullers, I thought they had a little bit more success. So maybe we'll see that sprinkled in more often, and they can go back to being kind of that 1-2 punch with the zone and the gap schemes. But yeah, I'm not trying to sound like I'm doing a cop out here where I'm like, it's just 1 week. It is concerning. So they're watching the tape this week. Obviously yesterday, and they're going to be working on that and how they can improve quickly, because the Ravens are good at defending the zone run. They have some big, 2 gap guys in the middle and up front, and they have linebackers that can run and move and learn and know how to read guards and centers' helmets. So we'll see. Those guys, those 3 that in the middle that I'm talking about, they're pros. They've played a long time. They've gone to Pro Bowls. I know they'll get it corrected.
John, we only have a little bit of time here. There was a little bit of a consolation going, well, if you're going to lose a game, at least you lost because of a kicker, not because of the young guys. That Nick said that yesterday. I was like, that's a fair point. But then we had a caller who was like encouraging of it today. What do you, as a former player, what do you say to guys who, are hoping that they lose so they get a better draft pick for next year?
I mean, it's hard for me to even comment on that. As a player, you don't give a rat's ass about next year's draft, because all that means is you're 1 year older, and that could be another guy that they're picking to try to replace you that takes your job. So that to me now means something different to when I played. And, I just kind of put myself in those guys' shoes, and I think like a guy that is playing. So that sucks. I mean, we're 1 week into the season, and I think the Browns could be competitive. Joe Flacco looked good. He was upright most of the game. I thought they could have maybe thrown the ball downfield more, but maybe they weren't for some reason that we all don't know. But I think this team can win games, and it came down to a kick. So if they can execute and steal some of these games early on, and then we're not talking about the draft in late October or mid-October. I mean, that's what we want. Yeah, we have 2 first-round draft picks next year, but let's let them be competitive picks, and let's be in this conversation where, hey, we're 2 guys away from being able to win this division or being able to host a playoff game. Let's use our 2 first-round picks to plug those guys in, take the 2 best guys available, and then let's have that conversation as opposed to let's get the number 1 and number 4 picks. I mean, I'm sick of that. Everybody's got to be sick of that.
John, we thank you so much for the time. All the very best to you and yours, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday. Take care now.
Guys, have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The great John Greco joining us on the Fan Hotline. All right, coming up here in about 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes the only thing that's going to fix a situation is a good, solid punch in the face. Coming up in 5 minutes, a decision like this that could cost us big time and that would leave nobody happy. Ken Carman, Anthony Lyman, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
Anthony Lima for
Congestion 77 north from Rockside to Grant and 90 east from South Marginal to Carnegie. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
There's only one place for a full recap of practice in Berea. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. 92.3 The Fan.
Coming up at 8:45, sometimes you just need a punch in the face. We'll go around the NFL. We'll go around the AFC North tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. I think Pony's set to join us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be, gonna be fun. Speaking of Pittsburgh, this is why, like a decision like this, with the kicker situation, it has a tendency to permeate, and I get worried about it. Because I think decisions like this can have a bad outcome. Because I vented to you that I am in this twilight zone where we have people telling Browns fans how to react, and it's unbelievable to me. I had a guy who's an analytics guy, and I couldn't help but respond to him on social media yesterday. Twitter Reactions brought to you by Schaub & Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store, where you have guys who I'm not saying they're dumb. But I think that I don't want to use the term touch grass, but you got to live in reality at some point here. You got to get with the people. And it was a conversation of, well, if Browns fans could liberate themselves from wins and losses, then you would see how good that these young players are. I go, that is not lost on Browns fans. I think there's a lot of Browns fans out there, good dyed-in-the-wool Browns fans, who know that Harold Fannin Jr. looked good and that Carson Schlesinger looks like a dude. And that, Mason Graham got blown out of the hole in the first drive and then looked a lot better after that. And it's like, okay, we're good. I think we'll be good. Hopefully we'll be good. We're off to a good start with those kids. But damn it, when you don't win, you should be upset. You should be upset. And, there's plenty of people, and I couldn't help it. I had to respond because one of the responses was, I used to be a season ticket holder. I gave up my season tickets years ago. I don't care anymore. Well, I can't blame you because of that. You can't tell fans to, quote, liberate themselves from wins and losses. Seriously, real commentary here. You can't tell fans to separate themselves, to liberate themselves, quote unquote, from wins and losses. And then tell a fan that you can't blame them for not caring about the Browns really anymore. Why do you think he doesn't care about the Browns anymore? Because of the losing. Because of the losing. And I remember having this fight in 16 and 17. And you used to have it with me. You're not fighting it as much anymore. You really aren't fighting me anymore on it. I think I'm fighting with other people now. And I'm not going to name names. But the ones who say it does you no good to win 6 games. It does you no good to win 7 games. It does you no good to compete. That's a no man's land you don't want to be in. And again, I can rip the names. I wrote them down during the break because you can rip them right off the top of your head, but it took me no time at all. I'm thinking, who's had better careers with better franchises? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, if we want to go back that far, or Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Tua, who
Zach Wilson,
Tua, who is taken ahead of Justin Herbert, or, you know what, Baker Mayfield. You see, that's the bastard of things. That's what really makes me mad. Because the same folks who tell you, this is where it's just like online, I got to get off of it sometimes. And I love to interact with fans. I love to interact with Browns fans and with listeners. But I have to get away from it because I know for a fact some of the same smart guys, the sharps, some of the guys, I hate to turn analytics into a bad thing, but some of the guys who they spend all their time watching the tape, but they don't spend any time with the actual players or coaches. The same people who wanted the Browns to bottom out and said it was not worth your time or trouble to win 5, 6, 7 games are still saying it this year, but it's also the same people, and I got a long memory, they didn't think Baker Mayfield was good enough. They thought that he was a problem. So you have a guy who, again, he didn't look that great at the beginning of the game. There were some missed passes. Then he got it going towards the end of that game against Atlanta. But you have this guy who's probably going to go to the playoffs again, who threw for 40 touchdowns. And definitely, guilty party here. I didn't think it was going to work in Cleveland. But I wasn't advocating to lose, to go out and get him. But I can't advocate to lose, then advocate. Like, where do you stand on anything?
I just think it's silly to talk about any of that this early in the season or even in the off season. It's just so silly because you just never truly know, how these teams are going to pan out. I mean, you already had like week 1, some crazy things that went down. Like, who saw the Colts, right? And by the way, throw Anthony Richardson in that category of the guys that you have bad
4
seasons
overall,
for.
Yeah.
But you just see some really bizarre circumstances. It's just so early to think about that right now. What I keep coming back to and what I wonder about, like there's been this conversation in town, moral victory, right? And in the NFL, majority of fans don't want to hear anything about moral victory. The hard part about this is when you miss on Deshaun Watson in the biggest way possible, you do know there's got to be a reboot coming. And they're in the process of doing it. They were going to do it all at once because you still have veterans all over, from the offensive lineman to Njoku to Denzel Ward. Like there is going to Myles Garrett, who they obviously re-signed to a big number. There's obviously going to be a shuffling, a transition of sorts for the team. So you do have to give the benefit in some way to whoever would have been in charge, whether it was Stefanski or Barry or the new group that would come in if that would have been the case. You would have given them the benefit of the doubt because the stink is still on what happened before. It's just we can disagree on whether or not they should have already hit the eject button. But so we'll see. They didn't. So we'll see how it pans out. The hard part about the moral victory thing this year is it's year 6 of these guys.
Yes.
So I saw a lot of social media people saying reason to think really good things. Look at the rookies. Look at the linebacker.
It's scary we're agreeing with this now.
Look at Harold Fannett, who is awesome. Look at Samson out of the backfield.
What are we going to do for a show when we agree?
But even if he is a third down back, like you're going to get Judkins, and you expect him to do a lot better than what they did. So, all right, Andrew Berry, this could have been his crowning achievement with this draft class. Then you have a faction of the fan base that's like, spare me, it's year 6.
Yeah.
Why are they getting that benefit as if they're first year? It's year 6.
Exactly.
How can you have warm and fuzzies about year 6?
In the words of the late great Dick Fegler, you can stay at the fair too long. Like we saw it with Bill Polian and Tex Schramm and a couple of people in the history of the NFL, right? But usually those who are good at what they're doing tend to stay with what they're doing. So that's where it's not just like where you end up drafting. Like you can find Josh Allen later in the first round and obviously Patrick Mahomes. But you want to go out and you want to tank it out. Do you trust the people that are in charge to make the pick? Like, because I'll tell you what, if they go out and they win 6, 7, 8 games with this team, the young ones are going to have to play well. I'm going to feel better about Andrew Berry in January than I do right now in September. Mm-hmm. So if they go out there and they win games with young kids, I'm going to go, okay, there's some issues there that I've had in the past, but the pups played well. Now maybe I trust you to go out and get that quarterback. I probably still won't fully because it's only 1 year out of 6 for a lot of fans. But I can at least start to build the argument. So you're still not going to be there. But damn, man, Howie Roseman left in charge. Gets a guy in the second round. He's going to revive probably for the MVP this year and has already won a Super Bowl. You have guys who have stuck around. Brett Veach. You have guys who stuck around in Kansas City. They end up getting players because you got Patrick Mahomes there. Brandon Beane, who goes up there, and not everybody's perfect. Eric DeCosta, not everybody's perfect. But these guys tend to stay, and before him, Ozzie. These guys tend to stay around for a long time because they're good at what they do. And they can draft guys at number 12 overall and get guys who hit when you draft 4th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and you mess it up. Because you got either continuously new people coming in or the people you have left in charge are boobs. So you got to get it figured out. And so the wanting to lose, it will be in the month of December. If this thing doesn't go well, it's going to be a consolation prize. I'm never going to root for him to lose. It'll be something that I accept eventually, like it happened last year. It's just an inevitability that I may accept because we all saw the writing on the wall last December, and we may very well see all the big brain writing on the wall this December. But I'm going to be very skeptical If they leave these guys in place, which I find it hard to believe, if they leave these guys in place or they bring anybody in, I'm going to be very skeptical of the people who is still in charge because they're new. Or
I do think
if Paulie Podesta stays, okay, well, what are we going to be doing then?
I do think there's a chance, and I'm not like guaranteeing this or anything. Could they go 0-6 but have the rookie draft picks look good?
Yeah,
I think they could. Of course, we know the two young quarterbacks that are part of the rookie class. They probably won't even play in those games, or at least the first 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it creates a very interesting conversation if that would be the case, where they just lose these games because these other teams, they have their quarterbacks in place. They're better cultures overall. Talent, I make the argument we had more talent on the field than Cincinnati in week 1. But will that be the case, this week? No.
Probably not the week
Against
after.
The Packers,
probably
no.
not the week after that.
Detroit, no.
Probably not the week after that, and probably not the week after that.
So you could play well, you could compete, you could be 0-6, and the rookies could look good. So what is that in terms of the conversation about stability and keeping everybody around for a 7th year? Because the season will be over. I mean, if you get off to 1-5 or 0-6, season's over.
5 minutes away, a big name in the NFL said that sometimes the only thing that's going to fix the situation is a good, solid punch in the face. Who was it? Find out in 5 on The Fan.
Anthony Lima 4, Q.
92.3 The Fan. And see our hosts make your reaction a part of our shows. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Want to talk Browns while you're at work? Baskin and Phelps, weekdays starting at 10 on 92.3 The Fan.
Week 1 in the books, ladies and gentlemen. Week 1, we hardly knew you. But there was a lot that transpired in the opening week of football. Not just what happened between the lines in Cleveland, between the Bengals and the Browns. And to talk about that and so much more, we are joined in studio, ladies and gentlemen, all Ohio baseball standard.
Hell yeah!
Mitch Spinell.
All right, Mitch,
Hello,
give
boys.
it to us hot and heavy.
Well, we had a number of topics throughout the NFL this week. I want to start off here with something that we were talking about earlier on in the show. This clip from Albert Breer yesterday on the Monday Morning Quarterback podcast that really got things interesting going here. What you got, Owen?
He's got it.
I got the clip
so
that
he's
you're
gonna
trying
play
to
it
do
for
two
you.
things at once for, so I was trying to help you.
Of course. Let's get it here. This is Albert Breer on the Monday Morning Quarterback podcast yesterday talking about the aftermath of the Bills incident, the Bills-Ravens incident with Lamar Jackson.
I had a conversation with my wife and my mother-in-law this morning about the value of having been punched in the face. Like, I just feel like, not that we come from some like roughneck era, but like I feel like when we were kids, if you did something that was way out of line, at recess you'd get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And there's real value in like having been punched in the face when you were 8, 10, 12 years old. It's like nature's way of teaching you decorum and how to conduct yourself and how to treat people, right?
Yeah.
Like, I do wonder how much of this is people just feeling at liberty to do whatever they want because they've been communicating to people through computer screens their whole lives. If you take anything away from today's podcast, there is real value in being punched in the face.
That's a great thing to say. I don't believe that Albert Breer has ever been punched in the face. Do you think he's ever been punched in the face?
Yeah, I do. I do because Albert Breer, in many ways, reminds me of myself. Your words in your mouth can get the best of you and can get you in a lot of trouble over the years.
That was certainly the case. The same thing. He reminds me of you, Anthony.
That's certainly the case for me growing up, and definitely got punched in the face many times. High school, college.
I think this show has been punched in the face more times than any show in Cleveland combined. This show has been punched in the face. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think that this show prides itself on being punched in the face. I do not believe. What time is he on this afternoon?
Usually 5:20.
The afternoon guys got to ask him whether or not he's actually been punched in the face, because I do not believe that guy. Yeah, the way he talks, I don't think he's ever been punched in the face.
I remember Matt Rosati, former football coach at West Geauga.
He's at Grand Valley now.
He's at Grand Valley now.
What's their record to start things off right now?
He has had an incredible coaching career spanning many, many decades. And I remember we were going for a basketball game. We were going to Barberton, right?
2-1.
And he pulled me aside as somebody who was the guy that got the fans all in sync for these games. I was running the fan section back then for the basketball games. And he said, Anthony, just want you to know, when you go up to Barberton, your mouth will get you decked.
Yeah, you will.
He said,
yeah, it will.
Do not think you're going to get away with some of the stuff you've been doing here in the Chagrin Valley Conference.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I remember at one point having to run away from the old basketball arena.
People in Barberton are passionate. They are not afraid to hit you in the mouth, and they would have hit you in the mouth. Matt Rosati was absolutely right. So I want them to ask Albert if he's ever been hit in the face, and I want a specific time, because anybody can claim when they've been hit in the face. I want to know.
They'll do it at 5:20.
Specific story of him being punched in the face.
But so, Mitch, was this whole thing on their podcast with Connor Orr? Was this about the fan? They got into it with Lamar Jackson.
And DeAndre Hopkins, too, that incident. Which, by the way, that fan has been banned, apparently, from the Bills Stadium and all stadiums.
And then he went on the news with a neck brace on. And I go, all these guys, all these idiots are content creators. That's all they are.
Oh, you thought that was real?
Was that Andy Kaufman?
I just thought that was a drunk.
No, that's not even the dude. Guys, that's not even
That's not
dude.
real?
No, that's a parody.
Oh,
That's a parody?
I love that.
You got
Oh, my
got.
God.
That's pretty good.
You got.
Did you wait for me to say it on the air
I've
so
been
you could
waiting
tell
for
me?
you to say it. Because you kept talking about it this morning, and I was all over
Oh
the
my
internet
gosh.
going, what is going on?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Why don't any Why don't any news outlets have it?
What a great fake.
Yeah.
Okay, so why? Can somebody help me out why this isn't the biggest story in America? Because you know if this happened in an NBA game, the exact same set of circumstances. Yeah, right. It's an outrage against humanity. The thugs of the NBA, they need to suspend them for the year. Like Lamar Jackson, if it were a Ron Artest or something, he'd be asked to be suspended for the year. Why isn't this isn't even in the top 15 of the headlines from the opening week of the NFL?
Moving on.
Also in the NFL, this past Sunday, a surprising result between the Colts and the Dolphins. The Colts blowing them out 33-8. Daniel Jones actually looking like a decent NFL quarterback. A couple of touchdowns in his Indy debut. The Dolphins, they don't look great. You mentioned them as co-workers earlier on in this show.
And a team.
Mike McCarthy was getting railroaded yesterday by the likes of Rex Ryan and company. It was a very weird situation overall, and it makes you wonder if the Dolphins are just going to let it tank out for the rest of the season if they don't pick it back up.
I mean, I don't spend a lot of time, thinking about that situation in general, but yeah, it's a little early. I still think it's a little early. Don't you think, Kenny?
I don't know. I'm getting texted by my boss right now, so I don't know what's going on. You guys got to take
early
care.
Right now, but I think people liked it similar to Detroit with their game against Green Bay. People were just we're like, what is this offense right now? It doesn't look right. Tua can't stop turning the ball over.
Obviously, you see their receiver throwing the temper tantrums on the sideline, and it's a carryover from last year. So
he didn't want to be there last year.
Yeah, the assumption is he's getting traded. Yeah. It's just a matter of time, but it does seem like that part of it has been cancerous. The thing is, when Tua had been healthy and played in Mike McDaniel's offense, they had been one of the best offenses in the NFL. The question is just, but he played in that game, and the offense could do nothing.
Is he mentioning me getting fooled by that fake story?
Yeah. Probably.
Okay, don't just tweet, "Oh my God, Ken," because you scare the bejesus out of me, and I think something really actually bad happened that could get us in trouble. Be smarter when you text us, boss. What was the issue then?
It's just the Dolphins.
The way the Dolphins look right now.
Dolphins suck. You're a guy that knows.
Are they already? Yeah, my dad's a huge fan. Are they already close to unwatchable for you? Are they that close?
Well, I'll tell you,
I know they're on the schedule, so they don't happen to be watchable.
They're going to be watchable if Tyreek Hill is still on the team, having meltdowns on the sideline. But it's bad. It is as brutal as a start as you could possibly have, especially after the offseason, all the questions surrounding the Dolphins.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I also want to get to this right here. The Raiders beat the Patriots 20-13 to start off the season. We have been keeping tabs on an Ohio State running back that is not Quinshad Judkins. Trevion Henderson, in his NFL debut, ran the ball 5 times.
That's it.
For 27 yards, caught 6 passes for 24 yards, had 2 very normal-looking kickoff returns. So some use of him hasn't been as much as we had expected.
Did we get carried away with all the preseason hype, especially in the comparisons to him and Quinshad Judkins? Did we get a little carried away?
No, I thought their offense just packed it in on Sunday against the Raiders.
It was
weird. Credit where it's due. Dustin, I know you're out there. Geno Smith. Smith plays well, man. He played well. And guess who did not play well? Sam Darnold. Yeah, boy. At least he was less money than Geno Smith, but Geno played well. I'm sorry, I hate to take it to somewhere else, but Geno played well on Sunday. I'm not very concerned about Drake May. I just came away pretty disappointed in Vrabel.
Well, the hype machine on him, though. There's a huge hype machine on Drake May.
Can I say one more thing, though, before we go?
By the Boston contingent.
I saw the stuff about the Houston Texans. I got to come out and admit, I'm a hater. Ever since the owner said what she said about thanking the Browns for the picks, I am a total, absolute 100% hater. There's other reasons in there I'd rather not get to that go with the Deshaun Watson trade, to be honest with you. I hope that Nick Chubb has a fruitful season. I hope he does well. I wish nothing but the worst for the Houston Texans. I wish nothing but the worst.
Well,
I got nothing against the city of Houston.
They got Ohio State quarterback, so we know where Ken's going to.
Well, I like CJ. You and I both like CJ Stroud, so kiss my ass. All right? Kiss it. We both like CJ Stroud.
Ohio State.
I don't hate Ohio State. We both like CJ Stroud coming out of the draft, so don't even start that garbage. I want nothing but the worst for the Houston Texans after she said what she said. Let's not act like there's some model franchise all of a sudden. Oh, they do it the right way. Do they? Do we want to look in their past? I don't think we do. All right.
By the way, Justin Fields
That's it.
had his best game as a quarterback statistically.
A dreaded word for everybody that you don't like to use, but it might be applicable here, and a QB that I like that Lima is going to glare at me about in anger. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app, then watch us at work on YouTube Live. Everything's absolutely free. You don't have to pay a dime. Friends, Ken Carman here from Northeast.
92.3 The Fan. Vikings come back, beat the Bears 27-24. In the fourth quarter, Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy passed for 2 touchdowns and ran for another. Want to catch highlights from The Fan from earlier today? Go up to 923thefan.com or favorite 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
Sports Talk on The Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL games all season long, starting at just $30 for the first year. That is $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today.
A dreaded word to describe the game on Sunday, but first, I think I have another quarterback that I'm paying attention to right now, and I think you are going to be very, very, very annoyed. So I told you I have my gaggle of QBs that I'm trying to pay close attention to. I'm glad that people are officially out on Cade Klubnik. I'm proud that I was never in on Cade Klubnik. I saw those top 10 drafts. I think it was, did Ryan have the Browns? Or did Wilson, did he have the Browns taking? I was like, no. I know Lenoris, but weather. Drew, what did you think of Drew Aller? I know you were driving, but
I didn't see it.
The term "play with or food" has been thrown around a lot.
Okay,
because there's a whole lot of conversation about him never having weapons. It's like, well, you went out and you got weapons now. Like, what are you going to do? And I'm waiting. I think the game against Oregon is, whew. And they just ended Mike Gundy's tenure at Oklahoma State. That was the end right there. That was, if there weren't more games left, that's Jerry Faust at Notre Dame in the final game against Miami. That was that bad against Oklahoma State. And so I 69-3.
69-3, yeah.
And so I'm looking at Oregon going, okay, now you know what? I thought Oregon might be a test. I thought it was going to be like back and forth. Like, no, they're a real deal now. That is going to be the first time I really pay attention and say either I'm in or out on Drew Aller. And then, of course, we'll get to November 1st where people will really be in or out on him because if he plays well, if they play well and they lose, fine. But if they play well and they beat Ohio State, I think we're going to get a lot of fans going, okay, he's local. We want him. That's the reason we want him. Or we want him because he's good, too. There's another quarterback that I'm paying attention to. It is not Fernando Mendoza, who is also a good quarterback. It is not Jalen Daniels. It is not Rocco Becht. I know what you're thinking, but it's not him. Did you see John Mateer on Saturday night?
I had it on the radio call, so I had to go back and watch the highlights, but I had the radio call on my way back.
Anybody see John Mateer on Saturday night?
Is he the Heisman favorite now?
I think he might be up to number one. I think he might be up there. And, boy, he stood in there. He is 6'1", about 200 pounds. He's thick in the right spots. Got that little pudding that you want. A little bit of pudding. Threw for, 270? And I know where he goes to school. And I know who he kind of physically resembles, so I figure I might annoy you. I might annoy Owen more than I annoy you with this. I'm like, yo, boy, I tell you, I kind of like what I see from this John Mateer fella. And say you go out there and you win 6-7 games this year. I know it's not what people want, but say you go out there and win 6-7 games this year. Is it worth it, or is he your secret? Or is he not a secret anymore? I mean, good God, if you're a Heisman favorite, then I guess you're not a secret to anybody for crying out loud. But, boy, standing there, that's a big boy defense.
Yeah, Washington State last year had 800 yards rushing.
And he carried the ball 19 times. Now, I worry about him carrying the ball 19 times. Oh, and I want to hear your opinion on it, but you don't seem to be too enthusiastic.
I've been on record that I don't watch college football anymore because of my kids' schedules, right? And I was a gigantic, when I first started at this station, was a gigantic Oklahoma fan, right?
For obvious reasons.
And the last quarterback that I really cared about that made me watch the team is the one that we're not talking about right now. And this guy reminds me an awful lot of him, not only in physical stature, but also in leadership.
Yeah.
And it's a reason that when you go back and you do watch some of that game and you see the highlights and I'm in the hype machine, right? Because that's the people I grew up with are there doing it. And go, oh, maybe I need to figure out a way to make sure I'm seeing this guy every week because he could end up in Cleveland next season.
He's a bit swashbuckling like you know who. And he's got a swagger like you know who. And he likes to lead like you know who. Now I'm worried about, again, 19 times he's running. Like Temple, I think he's fine. Auburn, big boy defenses. SEC, big boy defense. Texas, that's a change defense, but big boy SEC defense. South Carolina is a ranked team. Tennessee's a ranked team. Alabama, I don't know what to do with them. I think Missouri's probably going to be higher ranked by the time that they play them than where they are right now. They just got in the top 25 after they came back on Kansas. I tell you, man, he's on the radar, man. He is on the radar. But am I liking it, or am I trying to exercise some demon and right a previous wrong? Like, I don't think... Do you think if he got drafted by the Browns, like Barry would call him and say, watch out? Or what do you think would happen?
Watch out?
It's a terrible thing to wonder on September 9th.
As long as they don't bring in the Clemson quarterback in 3 years and blow you out of there.
Right.
Okay.
Come on, Baker's more mature now. I think he would be very complimentary.
Okay.
You remember? Baker says he had a lot growing up he had to do.
Just making sure. Because I watched that game on Saturday night, and I'm going, well, I like this fella. I like this fella a lot.
Baker did say he was asked, during the preseason, they asked about the Cleveland quarterback situation. I think the Kelce's asked him, and he said, not my problem anymore.
Yep.
If
Which
it's
is true.
John Mateer, is that part of his problem again? Because they do have a tie-in.
They're brethren. They're interlocked. I mean, if John Mateer wins the Heisman, they both will have statues.
Oh, yeah. They'll be Eskimo brothers then.
Memorial Stadium.
Yep.
They'll both have statues there.
Gaylord family.
Is there a moral victory to Sunday's game? 216-474-0092. Do you want to hear about moral victories or no?
So,
is there a moral victory to Sunday's game?
So there's one aspect of this that is stopping me just short of saying anything like that, and that is the fact that they've done this before to Cincinnati, and they've done it in an opener against Cincinnati. So now that was a good indication when that happened last time that defense was really, really dominant. And
that was also a slop game, too.
It was. And
this was not a slop game.
Yeah, Burrow wasn't healthy. He was on one leg in that game. It was raining during parts of that game.
Yeah.
So if anything, you should be like, well, Lima, this is even better because he was healthy, and they stressed how much they wanted to come out of the gates and play well. But then I look and I'm like, Zach Taylor, and the Browns are in their head. So it is stopping me short. The other part of it that stopped me short is there's going to be a lot of talk about rookies and Andrew Berry, and this is going to be a part of the new culture, and this is something they're building. Does any of that matter until they get a quarterback?
What do you mean?
Any discussion about getting real excited about the next iteration of a team and a mentality and a philosophy and a psychology, is all of that just stuff we talk about?
I think it was easier.
That doesn't really matter until you get a quarterback.
I think it became a lot easier for Jalen Hurts to eventually ascend to the leadership role that he's in with the Philadelphia Eagles because he had guys like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham there to be the locker room leaders on that football team. Like, you need dudes. And so I think whoever the rookie is, whether it is John Mateer or Lenoris Sellers or Drew Aller or anybody, I think that guy, or Garrett Nussmeier, for instance, who again grinded it out and I thought did pretty decent considering. I think it's going to be that much easier if you have younger guys who are going to be veterans, but still younger guys who are like, hey, it ain't like it used to be. I don't give a bleep what it used to be. I don't give a bleep about country clubs. I don't give a bleep about what your family's saying. I don't give a bleep about where you're from. If we're going to do anything, I'm not going to sit here and waste my time and just cash checks. I'm going to get paid, and I'm also going to go out there and win. And if you ain't about it, I'm going to do everything I can to get rid of you. I'm done. Like, that already has to be the mindset for year 2 of Carson Schlesinger. That has to be the mindset. That has to be it. Because Myles Garrett's going to be 10 years in. Like you would like that, and I think that Myles might gravitate towards that, but he's not that guy to set it up. He's not that guy. Maybe Carson Schlesinger is. Maybe Mason Graham is. Maybe one of the young guys in the secondary are. But I don't know I don't know if the current long-term vets are that guy. So if I get young guys who are, if you lose some of these games, and I got Carson Schlesinger, I'm just using him as an example, breaking his helmet over his locker, mad, and cussing people out, and holding court, and then backing it up on the field, because you got to back it up on the field. You can't just talk it. You got to go out there in the field and actually lead. If you're doing that, yeah, I think we can be in a better place. I think it's terribly scary to go into this, and this is what I hate about tanking teams. You automatically throw all this leadership on these guys. They were just in college. Do they know how to lead at a pro level right now? Now, they might be better equipped because of the NIL era, granted, but like I played for you that halftime speech of Matt Rule, and I said Matt Rule was destined to be a college football coach. That's college right there. That ain't pro football. You're up 33-0 in the pros. It ain't like that. That's a college guy. That's the type of culture that you come from. So if you're coming from that type of culture, it might take a minute for it to stick in. And some guys might wonder if you're fake. I think that's what some people are wondering with who I just compared John Mateer to, who we dare not speak of. So it's only easier if my rookie QB I get next year, whoever that might be, or God, if it's somebody, if it's Dylan Gabriel or who, that's that much easier if I got guys who are going, you know what, it ain't going to be this way anymore. And I ball out and you ball out, and this has got to change. If we're going to do anything, you want to be legendary, you want to have a career, you want to have a type of career that people look back on, you want to make more money based on your own name, if we want to do business, then it's going to have to be this way if we're going to get anywhere. That's why, like, as angry as I am and how I don't like the people, there are people who are calling in satisfied with the results. You should not be satisfied. But yeah, man, like I think there is, like if we come away with not a lot of wins, but there is some goodness there with these young guys, what am I saying, that the year's a total wash?
Well,
like, am I saying
it's so tough. It's so tough because we start to play these things out on paper years later, and I was looking to see how many games that Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson actually played together, because that's what we fantasized about, right? Yeah. We're going to go get a top 5 quarterback. You know, pair him with Nick Chubb, who may be the best running back in football at the time. Definitely was in the argument. You know how we felt about that in Cleveland. They played like 11 games together because of injuries and obviously suspension, and just both guys getting banged up. Like, it's so hard to forecast that, okay, some rookies are playing together well now. Does that mean the culture has changed? Like, it's so early. And then, you know, the other part of that I ask you is, have we changed our win projection for the Browns just based on how they played in the opener? You know, I said before the year 4 or 5 wins. You got up to 8 by the end of the...
I'm already back down to 6.
Okay. All right, you docked them 2 games for that. In a game that Flacco played well and the defense played dominant.
It's not their fault. It's the rest of the schedule. Like, Baltimore lost in the worst way possible.
Yeah, but the schedule
Sunday night.
didn't change.
I know the schedule didn't change, but my expectations for the rest of the schedule changed. So, yeah, I'm back down to 6.
Wow.
No, you know what? Let's split the difference. I'll say 7. But I got to look at the rest of the schedule. But I think there might be moral victories, because I hate this, and I'll be terrified if they do it. Like, part of the reason I hate tanking teams, I think they try... Trevor Lawrence went into a great situation at Clemson. See, that's the difference. These guys, they go and they win a bunch of games in high school because they're the best players on their team. And then they go to college. They don't get picked up by Temple. You know, you go to Clemson. You go to Ohio State. You go to Michigan. You go to the best of the best. You go to previously Alabama. That's where you go. So you go into a culture where there are guys who work out at 2 a.m. and will cuss you out or pull you out of bed if you don't. Like, that's the difference there. Now you're going into a place where, yeah, we've been losing, and now it's all on you. And I don't know if guys know how to accept that or know how to take on that challenge. Trevor Lawrence, all he did was win. All he did was come from great programs. Then you go to the Jaguars. Baker Mayfield, all he did was win. All he did was go to great programs. Oklahoma's a great program. He was self-made in so many ways. Then you have this challenge with the Browns, and it's tough. It's so much tougher. It's made so much tougher. So you need younger guys who are going into year 2 and year 3 to take ownership and stop looking around for it. 216-474-0092. Is there such thing as any moral victories in 2025? There's nothing to say to the guy. It's only going to make it worse. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan. KC.
24 in the fourth quarter. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy passed for 2 touchdowns and ran for another. Listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I am getting responses to the John Mateer comments. I liked him, man. I liked him. It's a hell of a first test, real test. Oklahoma isn't a program that's on its ass. It's a great program, but it's definitely has its questions with Brent Venables.
I've been down for a few years.
Hasn't been down
to their standards. Yeah, they have the same expectations that Ohio State fans.
What was their record last year?
Not good enough.
Yeah, it wasn't very good at all. Yeah, they've been down.
They beat Alabama. That was it.
Yeah, they were down. They've been down. And so if he goes out there and he's a swordsman, I think it's going to change some things. Yeah, they were 6-7 last year. That's down. That's definitely down for Oklahoma football. And they were down 2 years ago. They were 6-7, 10-3, 6-7, now 2-0 with Brent Venables. I've never been a big Brent Venables guy, but either way, I really like John Mateer. I'm getting a lot of comparisons to you-know-who. You can't help but have the comparisons. They're both around 6 feet tall. They're both thicker in the trunk. Both could possibly, one has already won a Heisman Trophy. The other one is now a leader for the Heisman Trophy. It's very early. We're going into week 3 of college football technically, but he's on the watch list now. He's on the watch list. Right now, I would say if I wanted to rank them 1 through 3, Nussmeier, Lenoris Sellers, John Mateer, and then Drew Aller is left off until certain dates. That's where I'm at. Fernando Mendoza I'm looking at. But that's where we're at on these guys. 216-474-0092. Is there such thing as moral victories? I say yes. I say absolutely yes. Now, I don't condone losing. I don't want them to lose. Like, we had a caller earlier, Malone in Lakewood, and him and I got into a spat because he was happy. He was happy. Said, this is what they need. And I don't think so. I think if you put all your eggs in the quarterback basket and you expect him to do everything, I think you're making it very difficult on that guy.
Now, hold on. Can I cheat a little bit?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Can I tell you?
Cheat your ass off.
Can I tell you, let's wait until I see the outcome of the Baltimore game? Because if they just get destroyed this week in Baltimore, then what's the moral victory from week 1? I think that goes right out the window, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, well, but it is. There's a lot. But I think there's a lot to feel good about.
It's a moving target. I think it's a moving target. I'm not saying moral. Okay, if you want to do the moral victory wins-loss record, I think we're 1-0. All
right.
1-0 on the moral record. Okay? There you go.
Boom!
I'll meet you halfway. We're 1-0 on the moral record.
Now that's the type of season I can get behind.
That's what it is. Think about it, guys. Harold Fannin, dog. Schlesinger, dog. Mason Graham, after the first drive, dog. Aiden Huntington, he blew it up when they went 7 linemen. Dog. 4 dogs. You want a dog pound? I got 4 dogs for you.
And imagine, Kenny, if you will, that the Browns...
Dylan Sampson.
Hanging
Dylan
in
Sampson,
there.
dog. 5.
Imagine that the Browns are hanging in there. Week 2 on the road. It's the whole Baltimore Ravens celebration. And they have a lead with 30 seconds left. Perhaps a go-ahead field goal by the Schmidt kid. Redemption. And then Lamar Jackson does MVP stuff and they win. 2-0.
2-0.
Moral victory.
2-0 in the moral
2-0.
record. 2-0 in the moral records. Some people might say this is sad, and I may agree with you, but that may be where we're at. So you're 0-1 in the real records.
Turn it up,
you're 1-0 in the moral record. Here we go again. It's the Cleveland Browns and it's first and victory. So get on your feet and let the games begin. Cause epic, here we go again.
Oof. Could be the year of moral victory.
I miss... Michael could tell the story of the favors he called in for that video. It was all like, hey, I've helped you out on all these records, and now I'm collecting from all of you.
Do they pay for their own flights?
I don't know. I have no idea about that, but I think it was, hey, you, all you legends, get in here now. And they were all too,
someone's walking around.
Too happy to
Did
do
I
it.
see Clarence Clemens with a saxophone?
Yes, you did. Because him and Michael were buddies.
I saw him at Settlers Landing. He's at Squire's Castle. What is going on?
And now they're hanging out up in heaven talking about all the people that Clarence used to meet here in the city of Cleveland. But that's neither here nor there. Damn it, what was I going to ask you about? Oh, yeah. I thought you were, when you got to Schmidt, I thought you were going to say something else. Would you say anything as a teammate? Would you say anything to Andre Schmidt?
Okay, so I thought about this a lot because I got crushed by our boss for acting like Kevin Stefanski should have had any after the missed extra point. Remember, was that his first ever NFL kick? And he missed it, and that had to be debilitating, right? I thought he'd only been in camps.
His first ever NFL game.
Yeah, so his first ever kick.
Yeah, because he made the first extra point, and then he made the first field goal.
You're right. Okay, so misses that. That's got to be just absolutely devastating because it's like, here we go again. Like, we just went through this with the missed extra points. You're chasing points. It just alters the entire scope of the game. And I was like, yeah, coach didn't talk to him. Nobody seemed to talk to him. Nobody. Like, what is it? Why do we treat these kickers
I don't think there's anything,
like they're not humans?
He's a grown man. You're not telling him anything he doesn't already know.
Hold on. But it's funny because I was watching part of the Raiders games. Carlson's still their kicker. He missed one right before the half, and all his teammates were like headbutting him, and they were like, come on, we're fine. And I'm like, in the Brown situation, none of that was going on. Everybody was just like, oh, crap. And I'm just like, is that a way to get a guy pumped up? Like, why can't a coach just go over to him and say, hey, we still believe in you, even if you don't? You can lie. Coaches lie all the time. They lie to the media all the time. They can lie to their players. Even if he doesn't believe in them. Yeah, even if it's just a dart and he was just hoping.
You can lie to everybody, but you can't be lying to your team. You can't lie in the locker room. Players can't lie to each other, and coaches can't lie to players.
I mean, they picked him as the kicker.
I don't believe they believe each other.
They had to have some faith in him, right?
Okay, yeah, they had to have some faith in him, but I think that it was all obviously the conversation that was had.
Was 100% of the faith gone after that?
No, it was 100% of the faith gone, but I think everybody's
then
tight in that moment. Lying. So what are you going to go do? What are you going to go say to the guy?
I think there's
You're going to go up there and show him a picture of your wife and kids and say that, hey, my job's on the line here.
You guys are youth coaches. There's no place for encouragement, even in professional sports. Guys do that all the time. Guys lose their mentally. Guys lose it all the time. There's no place for encouragement.
Owen and I coach.
Is it because it's a kicker?
Anthony, Owen and I coach like 12-year-olds, man. There's
none in professional sports. You don't ever see that? Guys don't go to a quarterback and say, hey, it's okay, we'll get him next time.
I think
Why can't you do it for a
some
kicker?
Degree because it's either make or miss. So the only thing you would ever say, if there was, hold on.
A quarterback can either make a good throw or make a bad throw. What the hell does that mean?
He asked, for the record, guys. What the hell does that mean? All you guys who sit there and accuse me of just yelling over him, I'm trying to answer his question.
A running back can either miss a hole or make a hole.
Okay. Well, here we are. This is how we'll end the show.
That makes no sense. A receiver can either make the catch and haul it in, or what had happened to Jerry Jeudy on fourth down. So you can't go over to Jerry Jeudy and say, "Oh, we got you, man. We believe in you." Nope, it's a make or miss league. Can't do it. What?
Are you finished?
What?
Are you finished?
You haven't made a point yet. What's your point?
I didn't get a chance to.
Go ahead.
You start yelling over me anytime I actually I start to do it. Are we okay now to do that? Thank you. The floor is mine. It's that simple. You just said it for me. Everybody knows what he did wrong. Unless the hold was wrong or the snap was wrong, then one of them would go over and say something, or Bubba Ventrone would go over and say something. But no, we all know what happened. Nothing needs to be said to a grown man. He knows what he did wrong. What do I need to say to him?
Yeah,
come on and make that kick,
NFL players that famously
pat on the butt.
NFL players that famously seek counsel and sports psychologists. Apparently, what am I going to say to them?
Then go talk to your doctor about it. Okay. I don't need to talk about it. I got an offense to run.
Well, guess what? You don't have time. You don't have that opportunity during a game. Maybe a coach can go be a coach and actually be a leader. I don't know. Maybe that would help.
He is leading by leading the offense.
I saw one guy go over there, and it was Shedeur Sanders.
This isn't Pee-wee football. It's the pros.
Okay.
Well, Shedeur Sanders didn't have anything else better to do for the day.
Marquez was there, and Sunahara was there as well.
This is insane.
No, Ken said they shouldn't have talked to him. Nobody should talk to him.
What's there to say to the guy?
They should freeze him out. That'll help him mentally.
I would only made it worse.
That'll help the first-year kicker.
I would have only made it worse.
Shedeur went over there? He wasn't in the game. He wasn't active on the game.
Exactly.
What has been one of the criticisms about Kevin Stefanski? Not a leader, not a motivator. Well, I didn't see anybody motivating.
Oh, so you're going to go send the non-motivating guy over there to motivate him?
How to go score points on offense now because the kicker can't make the kick.
How's that working out for him?
I know you missed the kick, but now I'm going to come talk to you, and you'll make the kick this time.
Well,
hey, that's Ken Carmen over here, backup left guard here. I'm on field goal team, so we're out there. You're going to make it this time.
Definitely worked. Definitely build up his confidence. That strategy worked out.
They're a pro.
Definitely don't have to go back to the drawing board on that.
They are pros. They are pros. They don't need to say anything. They know exactly what went wrong.
As bad
he
as
knows exactly what.
But hold on. But that's the point. They do talk to guys all the time. They do build them up. That's a big part of what a lot of guys do on the sidelines. Go look at coaches. Kenny, you're a coach. You study this stuff.
They are 12 years old.
You're Minnesota coach in the 1950s. He never went over to anybody
and
got him that right sentimental message that hit a chord. No, it's a make or miss league. Can't do it.
They are children. I am coaching children. They are small children. They do need encouragement because they're kids.
NFL players don't need any encouragement.
That's what the money's for.
Okay, but
they can encourage each other.
But Dan Campbell doesn't go and encourage guys. He doesn't get in guys' faces. Dan Campbell.
This is the dumbest thing you've ever said.
But it's one of the big criticisms of your head coach. Are you not admitting that Kevin Stefanski has been criticized as a guy who's not a motivator? Yes or no?
This is the dumbest thing you've ever said.
Yes or no? Ken knows I'm right. Ken knows that's been a criticism of his.
Of course it's been a criticism of his.
So keep walking up and down the sideline looking at your score sheet and tell me how that motivates guys.
Because he's got to call an offense because if he really wanted to say what he had to say, he's like, I can't believe I got to call more plays because this guy can't hit a freaking field goal. They're grown men. Your job is simple.
How many points did that offense have against Cincinnati and their slow-ass linebackers and their slow-ass corners? How many points?
So the problem
staring at that sheet, not motivating guys, certainly worked.
The problem with Kev is that he didn't go over and give the kicker a hug. Is that the problem?
I think he needed more than that. What he didn't need is his coach to freeze him out.
This is asinine.
Shador's got to do Kevin Stefanski's job all of a sudden.
216-474-0092.
Now he's
the dumbest
not only is Shador,
this is so stupid.
Not only is Shador the emergency quarterback, he's also the emergency head coach.
Who do you agree with?
Well, your friends that are in the chat right now are going to love that comment. You call him in from Dallas and get him in here.
Now I know why they drafted Shador. They need a real leader on the sidelines.
Oh, they all agree with you. I can't believe they all agree with you on the chat.
Thank you, Shador.
Oh, you guys all live in fantasy land. If you agree with Anthony, you're a true moron right now. This is silly. They are grown men. This isn't high school. This isn't young kids, middle school. These are grown individuals. What is there to say? The only thing I'm going to do is make it worse if I go say something. Come on, Andre, make the kick this time. We have faith that you're going to make the kick. What's there to say? What's there to say? You made him in practice when no one was around. What's there to say to the guy? What do you want me to tell him that's going to make the kick?
Never talk to him again. That seems to be working out.
Sometimes not speaking is probably way better than overemphasizing.
Treat him as if he's pitching a no-hitter.
Okay. What you need to do is you need to go up to him, get a picture of your family. If you're the head coach, get a picture of Mace Dog and Izzy and Sarah and you guys all together in your Christmas photos and go, these are the kids that are going to be left with their father without a job if you don't make the next kick.
I'll just never talk to my kids ever again.
They're children.
No encouragement.
He is an adult. He's a taxpayer. And contrary to what somebody said yesterday, he's an American citizen.
By the way, I have a video of him going over and hugging Judy after the drop.
All calls. Do you really?
Did it with Judy?
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Who did over?
It's right here.
No, I don't believe it. There's no video over there.
It's right there.
Let me see it.
It's right there. Look at it.
Second crap.
It's right there. It's on my screen.
There, you ass. There ain't no video.
I have a video of him right here picking Spencer Tillman up off the ground and carrying him out. Spencer's got his legs wrapped around him and he's patting his head and going, it's okay.
Who did you say he was hugging after? Who was hugging who?
It's a big group hug.
It's a footsteps poster. They picked up Andre Schmidt. This is what I carried you, my son, said Miles.
They were doing trust falls afterwards. Right out at midfield.
You don't believe anything you're saying.
I just think it wouldn't have been the end of the world. That's all.
No, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But I just don't think it would have helped. really make the kick this time on you bunch of grown men. Lord. And then to use my kids or my players. I mean, come on, that's as silly as
sometimes a nice attaboy will get you next time.
216-474.
I do pay my linemen and Chips Ahoy if we run over.
All right, we're filled up here. We'll get to all you guys coming up next. All right, you agree with Anthony or you agree with me? Ken Carman, Tone Master General. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. Friends, Ken Carman here for Classic Chevy and Mentor. I went up to Jeremy Hamilton just the other day, and I just gave him the greatest hug ever, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I thought you needed help. He goes, no, they're selling like crazy over here. I mean, my goodness, when we can offer a
week one, and we have a bunch of rookies, and they're only going to get better, right? Like, I think there are plenty of things to pull from, and you can use that, but you do have to fight the here we go again. And, I mean, it's probably a bigger issue for fans with here we go again than inside that locker room, but I'm not saying that's not something that they have to address.
Listen for Scott Petrak from the Chronicle Telegram Monday mornings at 11 on Cleveland's Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
So Lyman wants to go up to Andre Schmidt and give him a hug on the sidelines. It's all going to be okay.
You might need more than that.
It's all going to be okay, Buster. You're going to make this kid. I just think you say too much, it could end up putting more pressure on him.
What do you think
Everybody knows. You guys don't really talk to him in the first place. See, this is the thing. If he makes the kick, what are you doing? Are you going up to him and giving him words of encouragement? You didn't say anything about that. So now all of a sudden, guys who didn't talk to him are talking to him. That's going to put even more pressure on him. And for everybody who's agreeing with Anthony on YouTube Live, you're either trolling me, which you're doing a great job of, or I'm telling you guys right now, if any of you went up to Andre Schmidt and tried to give him encouragement, he would give you the Dave Chappelle hand in the face. He doesn't need it anymore. He knows what his job is. That's the beauty of professional football.
What do you
There's a job to be done.
What do you think his week consisted of? If he's still on this team...
I actually felt bad for him yesterday.
And he's just been... Let's say he's got one more week, because that's basically what it is, right?
Yeah.
If he's coming back, if there's no competition or anything, they didn't bring in any kickers off the street, I feel like we would have known, would have heard about it yesterday or whatever. What is his week like? Like, not just at the facility. Like, what is he doing all week?
Well,
how do you shrug off the whole city saying you should be fired? It doesn't happen often in sports.
I hate to say it, Tom, but I think it's the business you've chosen, bud.
For sure.
So
he's teetering already because this was a minor miracle that he got back in an NFL opportunity.
Yeah.
Coming for the UFL. He probably wondered if this was ever going to ever happen again. His agent probably did big time work to even get him the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then he wins the job. Credit to him. And he goes out in that preseason game and makes a kick in a preseason game, which I never thought that would be enough to win any kind of a job. But it was. And he beats the guy that was Hopkins, a Pro Bowler a couple of years ago, got a contract. I mean, he was a big-time performer.
He was close.
For a playoff team.
I have no idea, but he was close.
So I don't know how you recover from this. Could be a great story. Could be a great story years from now. You imagine if 10 years from now we are talking about this kid as still the Browns kicker and he was able to weather the storm after that disastrous debut. Being one of the all-time great stories.
I hope he becomes Adam Vinatieri.
Does anybody think that's actually going to happen?
No.
Probably not.
But I did feel bad
Would be
because
cool.
I got the report from the intermediate school. The kids were cooking him yesterday, is what they say.
Oh. Were they crashing out?
They were really ripping on him. And I was like, oh, jeez.
And it's a kicker.
That's got to be tough that a bunch of fifth graders are ripping on you, man.
Already, most football people hate the kickers, including his teammates. They probably didn't like him to begin with. How many kickers can seamlessly work their way into a locker room? Like, even if you're drafted, you know other guys are looking around going,
we had one.
We drafted one?
We had one, my buddy Henry. He was on the soccer team, swear to God, and then a parent bitched, and then that was the end of it. Because he was a soccer player, and he was hitting like 50-yarders, like curving them in and stuff. And we're like, this is great, and we already like Henry. He was Greek.
Okay.
He's still Greek. He's still alive. I think he's in finance in New York.
Yeah, kickers
Great
actually
guy.
last longer. They live longer.
Great guy. And he's hitting field goals, and we love him. And a parent bitched, boy, he's not a real football player. He didn't go through 2 days. What's he doing here? And my coach was just like, fine, I don't need parents bitching at me. He's got to go.
Oh,
and I'm going,
God,
what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are we doing this? And then guess how the season ended? Missed kick. Not that we're not still bitter about it 21 years later. That's what kickers go with.
Did he get any encouragement?
The other kicker? That's a story for off the air.
Oh, all right.
I can't say that one. It got pretty ugly. Phil and Hudson, congratulations on all your success. You're next up on the Fan.
Yeah, I'm with Lime. I think he hit the nail on the head here. And he's not saying go over to the guy and coddle him and give him a hug.
Lima wants to give him a binky.
Go over to him and say, hey, man, you got this. Like, I don't care how old you are. Like, you know, whether you're a kid or a grown-ass man. Like, we all have confidence, and we need to be lifted up sometimes, man.
I just think that if you didn't say anything to him, Phil, before, and then all of a sudden you go up to him, you just put more pressure on him.
Well, hey, what's Dan Quinn doing in this situation?
I don't know what Dan Quinn's doing.
Leader of men, what's Dan Quinn doing?
And what's Stefanski doing?
Well, Stefanski didn't say anything. Did Dan Quinn say anything to his kicker?
I'm saying, what would he do in the situation?
Oh, we don't do hypotheticals on this show.
I don't know what Dan Quinn does.
Here, let me talk to a kicker for you.
That's a good one. That was a really good one. Brandon in Shaker Heights. Brandon, hello.
Yeah, I agree with the last caller. You got to give the man some confidence. You know, you got to show him that he a part of this team, and we're a band of brothers. We're a brotherhood.
Hey, you got it. We don't even know how to spell your last name, and we didn't talk to you before you missed the kick. Let's go, buddy. We're with you. Are you?
Yeah,
do I believe you? I think it just put more pressure on me.
And now the whole city against him. Now that the team didn't talk to him, so now that's extra pressure. You got to let him know he's a part of the team, no matter what. I don't care who, the kicker, all the way up to the quarterback. You got to give your boy some confidence and let him know he can go in there and get it done again.
The paycheck that he'll collect later this week lets him know he's a part of the team. Big thanks to everybody who joined us today. Stop laughing over there.
Is he definitely getting a paycheck?
Yeah. You played in the game, you get a paycheck. This is America.
What's the kicker going to do?
See, now you're ripping on him. All of a sudden you want to be his best friend. Now you want to rip on him. All right. Podcast coming up, 92.3 The Fan Extra on the free Odyssey app. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Go Guardians. We're still alive. On the way to the postseason, 92.3 The Fan Extra on the free Odyssey app, 10:15. Have a wonderful day, my friends.
With my passion of crime and the somewhat of truth.